Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're watching from. Welcome to the Tommy Temper Show. We're coming to you live from the elm-lined streets of Old Strathcona here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and it's a beautifully rainy day out there. It was a little bit windy, and it's kind of going to be windy a little bit later. But hey, we're coming to you live here. Good to see you all. Thanks a lot for joining us here today.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Alberta's
We've got a good show for you here today. Stay tuned.
Out in Alberta where the Rockies rise, Tommy Temper streaming with fire in his eyes from a lake house glowing in the moonlight's gleam. He's the YouTube king of the widest streams.
Hey.
Tommy Temper, you're a great
Thank you very much.
guy.
Appreciate that.
Souls with a spark in your eye. Conspiracy theories, politics
How's everyone doing today?
Streaming from the Rockies, you're second to none. Hot tub bubbling under starlit skies. He's calling out the haters with truth in his lines. Talking about the world from the left to the right. Tommy's
Good
got
to
the
see
mic,
everyone
keeping it
today.
tight. Oh, Tommy Temper.
Filing into the chat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looking good. Hey. Well, I'm feeling pretty good here today.
Hello. Adjust me.11-G3H at Kimberly 5116.
Oh, we got the chat reader on here today. Hang on. Let me take that off so it doesn't fight with me here today. But good to see everyone. Thanks a lot for joining us here today. We got Kimberly in there. We got Jen in there. More people popping in. Looking good. Appreciate that. Let me just go in the back end here and turn a couple of switches on here. I have to do that with every stream. Stand by. Oh, yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining us here today. We appreciate your company. And yeah, we've got a few things lined up to talk about here today. There's no doubt about that. Let me just save this a little bit. Go over and make sure that my live is looking okay. Just hang on a second. Let me make sure that my live everything looks okay. Oh yeah, even sound okay. I can hear my audio coming back, feeding back into the stream here. Looking good. If we got a mod in the chat there, a super mod that can turn on 1 minute before you can actually comment, 1 minute of subbing, that'd be good. Give us a thumbs up, give us a like or join the channel, whatever. We're doing pretty good there. Oh, actually, yeah, I lost about 100 subs there the other day when I was streaming, and I found out that people all over the internet were losing subs. Something was going on with the algorithm with YouTube and whatever. People were just plain losing subs. Nancy, thanks a lot for subbing. Appreciate that sub. See you popping in there. Thank you very much, Nancy. Good to see you. And yeah, it's kind of an interesting day here today. Let's start off with a little bit of news from the United States here, actually. Actually, one of the things I wanted to talk about was, let's start here with Alberta here first, as a matter of fact. Here in Alberta, there's going to be an announcement here today. I got this through the grapevine. I don't know if it's true or not, but I guess we'll find out here later today. But apparently, Daniel Smith is going to be announcing, because of the windfall of, Alberta bucks from all of the stuff that's going on, with the record oil prices here in the last little bit. She's apparently going to be giving every Albertan a check. Now, I don't know if that's going to be over 18 or whatever it is, but we're apparently going to be getting some kind of a dollar check, some bucks back from the Alberta government. Danielle Smith is going to be doing that. Now, some people are saying, well, maybe this is akin to vote buying or something like that. Maybe she's slipping in the polls, and politicians do stuff like that. You know, when they're slipping in the polls, they start giving perks to the people that do the voting, like myself. And well, we're going to see later on today, because she's going to be announcing whether or not there's going to be some money, some checks to people like me that live in Alberta here. So that'll be a good one. If you remember, there was a guy by the name of Ralph Klein that, I don't know when it was, back quite a few years back, when he was the premier of the province. He gave out what everyone called the Ralph Bucks, right, which is $400. And back then, $400 was a lot of money. You know, maybe it's worth $1,000 here today. Ooh, if she's going to match Ralph, she better be giving us $1,000 check or something like that. You know, we need our oil royalties feeding back into my pocket so that I can go out there and buy some new toys out at the lake house or something like that. Some rubber ducks for the hot tub or something. I don't know, but we'll definitely be spending it on something good. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, thanks a lot, everyone that's piling in here. Nice to see you all. I see you all popping in there. We see 12 men in there. Good to see you. We've got Ayatollah of Alberta popping in there, looking good. Lobster Jeff, you're looking excellent. Thanks a lot. Edward Cam in there. Woohoo, looking good. So, so that's the biggest item on the board here, is that we might be getting some money. So watch for that announcement that'll be coming. I didn't really find much news about it, other than just the fervor of people talking about it through the grapevine, that that's going to be happening. So we're looking forward to that actually happening. Down in the States, there's been a bit of stuff happening there with regards to Antifa. I noticed that there were apparently some people arrested, some Antifa-type people arrested down in the States. And let's hear that first story about that. It's breaking news, actually. The Department of Justice has just secured criminal charges against 15 anti-ICE Antifa militants in the Minnesota area for surveilling, harassing, and confronting federal agents. And if you remember, there was some people that were stealing some stuff out of ICE agents' cars, right? And things like that were happening. So, there's been that announcement down in the States. Let's, first of all, listen to that story here. That'll be our first bit here. Let's just bring it on here, and we'll listen to what Danielle Rosen has to say about that. He's the U.S. Attorney for District of Minnesota.
Today, a federal indictment was unsealed, charging 15 defendants with conspiracy to impede or injure federal officers and other charges related to efforts of two Minneapolis-based Antifa groups that violently opposed the enforcement of federal law in our state. Such stalking and other direct actions against law enforcement are criminal, they're un-American, and they'll be met with swift justice. That's why we're here today. To those who choose to threaten or harm federal officers, we will hold you accountable. We will defend federal officers, we will protect the public, we will enforce the law. Today, a federal indictment was unsealed.
So there you go. That's the announcement. And of course, Antifa didn't take that announcement lightly, because they ended up doing their thing. They do what Antifa usually does, and we've got this one coming in here that's of course, pretty typical of what Antifa might be doing. Antifa is they basically losing their minds because of their comrades that were arrested. And some people are saying, well, every single one of them should be arrested. This is outside of the building, I think, maybe where they were arrested or something, but ICE is at this building here. And let's look at what Antifa is up to there. Oh my gosh. Just a little bit of pepper spray going on there. Emptying out their cans.
Fuck you! Fuck you! You fucking fascist Nazi fucks!
Somebody's fucking head. They fucking threw this at people's heads. They fucking hit right there. Inside.
Wow. As you can see, yeah, Antifa was not too happy about that. Yeah, what do you expect? You know, this is like ongoing stuff here with Antifa. They're like, whatever is going. It seems like there's been a bit of an uprising with Antifa ever since Donald Trump has been elected, and while he's basically been given a big push on ICE and stuff like that. You know, Antifa. Some people say that they're funded by a guy by the name of George Soros. I don't know if that's true or not. People in my area, you know, they've told me, no, we don't get money. Well, at least up here in Canada, you know. But you can imagine that there is some kind of funding potentially, probably going on. I don't know. Elon Musk is, you know, he's not happy with the whole thing either. Elon Musk declares an all-out war on George Soros, vows to crush the globalist billionaire. He spends half of his wealth influencing elections and paying professional protesters and rioters. It's about time someone showed him how powerless he can be. It's about time that somebody did something. Elon Musk declares an all-out war on George Soros. He vows to crush the globalist billionaire. Yeah, he spends half his wealth influencing elections and paying professional protesters and rioters. It's about time somebody showed how powerless he can be. Yeah, just to read that double. And yeah, I'm pretty much you know, I've been watching this whole thing for, you know, quite a number of years here now, and you know, all fingers point to him as being the money man on the whole operation. And you know, he's probably still doing it to this day, to the point that Elon Musk is getting pissed off at him and using X to call out George Soros, as you can see. So yeah, I kind of agree with Elon Musk that it's about time that somebody does something about the guy that's funding the whole thing. You know, I don't know whether or not they're going to be able to prove that there was any kind of a RICO type racket thing going on in the States with the Antifa that members that have been arrested. Of course, people are going to go, oh, well, can't be Antifa members because it's not a thing. Remember, Biden said, oh, Antifa's not a thing, you know. It's like typical for what they say. Oh, there's no organization in anything that they do. Yeah. Well, some people say that there's 80,000 people that are organized in Minnesota to be trying to take out ICE in Minnesota. So I don't know if that's true or not, but whatever. It's part of the lore of what's going on there now. We'll find out soon enough as to what's going on. Here's again. Oh, we've also got the Muslim thing going on there too, where they're causing an awful lot of strife all over the place. Oh, hang on. Let me just turn that music off there. And we've got this little clip here of a Muslim kid viciously bullying an elderly white man here. This kind of thing has to stop. Like, this is getting ridiculous out there. Absolutely ridiculous as to what's going on. In fact, I shouldn't even be showing this to you, but check this out. You know, like, look at, why should people have to put up with stuff like this? This is absolutely ridiculous. And this is a Muslim kid viciously bullied an elderly white man. This barbaric violence is disgusting and unacceptable. Time to slam the door on Islamic immigration and deport the Islamists before Western civilization is finished. What do you think about this? You know, that's not me that's recording this or posting it, but I'm just reading what's going on out there. People are getting awfully pissed off about people that are immigrants in the country and the way they're treating everybody else, you know. It's pretty craziness out there. Yeah, I would have to agree with that one. Okay, we've got this whole thing that's going on here in Edmonton. We've got the push for Alberta independence going on, and June 28th, there's going to be a big slow roll, flag wave, and the whole big thing here in Edmonton. So June 28th, 1 o'clock to 4 p.m., slow roll, bring your flags, and roll down Henday. There's going to be people that are going to be waving flags and stuff like that. Lots of things going on, lots of posters online. Check it out over on X. Just go to X and do a search for Alberta, and you'll see a lot of this stuff will pop up there if you're interested in doing that. Flag waves can meet at Collingwood Road, Lessard Road, Anthony Henday Overpass, and then there's going to be a big slow roll starting at 266th Street, 114th Avenue, Atchison, if you live in Edmonton. So check that out. That's one of the things that's going to be happening on the 28th. That's a big one happening. Also in Edmonton, breaking news, we've got this story where we've got somebody has put some graffiti out here outside of a daycare for Muslim children on the north side of the river. And this is what it says here: protect women, rise against Islam. So the Edmonton City Police are investigating after Islamophobic graffiti was discovered near a daycare for Muslim children on the north side. So, is this a hate crime? I think that they're trying to pin it as being some kind of a hate crime. Well, protect women, I would have to say that that sentence or that two words would be a good thing. Definitely protect women. Rise against Islam, I guess maybe you could take that as being Islamophobia. I think that's a made-up word too, Islamophobia, that they came up with that because they didn't want anybody talking negatively about them. But anyways, this is where things right here in my own city are starting to pop. Maybe it has something to do with what's going on over in Europe, in the UK, where people are pushing back against stuff like that. Yeah, all words are made up. Yeah, exactly. I see what you mean. Yeah, but anyways, that's happening right here in my city, Edmonton. Now, I didn't do that. Don't blame me for that, and I wouldn't promote stuff like that. Don't do stuff like that. But it's starting to look that way, that things are actually happening like that. This is coming in from the Fraser Institute. Alberta will thrive without being burdened by Canada. The Fraser Institute has just confirmed Alberta is literally Canada's money pinata for federal finances. Okay, check this one out here. This is showing us how much money is being supplied to Canada. So you see that big green line on the very left? That's Alberta. Oh, actually, let me, if I can lift this up a little bit here. Stand by a second to where you can actually see. Okay, yeah, that shows you a little bit here. On the bottom is the Alberta all the way to the left, and you can see the amount of money, and it's looking like about $321 billion. Not sure what the this is Albertans' projected net contribution to federal finances, 2007 and 8 to 2026-27, and it far exceeds the contributions from any other province. So check it out. Look at Quebec on the far right. Quebec is like, they're sucking $429 billion during that time period out of Canada. You've got Nova Scotia, Manitoba, New Brunswick, Newfoundland, Saskatchewan, and PEI are all negative. The only provinces that are really contributing appear to be Alberta. The majority is Alberta. Then you've got a little bit from BC and Ontario in there. So this chart really tells you what's going on here in Canada. Now imagine if Alberta split from Canada. Canada would be screwed, because what are they going to do? How are they going to get their money to pay all that debt? money that that Mark Carney is spending on, billions and, over $100 billion that he's spent. In fact, it's more than that even, because I haven't been counting for the last couple of months here, and he's buying fighter jets and all kind of stuff like that. So it's not looking good for the rest of Canada if Alberta does split. Quack in there. Hey, Quack, good to see you. Thanks a lot for popping in. How's it going? Yeah, looking good. Trolls and hoes. Yeah, exactly. So, this is actually one of the stories that's going on right now, where Alberta is really contributing an awful lot to the well-being of the rest of Canada. And I'm not liking it at all. And that's one of the reasons that Alberta wouldn't have any trouble separating from Canada. We might be in debt trying to get different things going, as soon as separation happens. But over a period of time, we'll be doing quite well, very well. Okay, we got this story coming in from the CBC. If you are into the CBC television and radio networks, that's the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Apparently, high ratings are incoming because the CBC has scrapped NHL broadcasts. They aren't going to be broadcasting Hockey Night in Canada anymore, and they're going to be focusing on women's and LGBTQ sports programming. If you can believe that. So this is a win for you, Edward Cam and Al Munson. If you watch CBC and whatever, you guys will be feeling really good about that. I drive from Sylvan Lake to Edmonton all the time, and every time I turn on that CBC radio, they're talking about queer this, LGBTQ that, just weird stuff that I never listen to. I don't talk about, and I'm really, quite honestly, not interested. And I don't need my kids in the car listening to that stuff that they're broadcasting on CBC. So all I can say is, they have a one-track mind. CBC has a one-track mind. It's like all about stuff that is like abnormal, like not regular heterosexual type stuff. Like even on Mother's Day, last year on Mother's Day, they broadcast some kind of a queer thing. And I'm thinking to myself, geez, like at least talk about regular mothers and not people that are transitioning and stuff like that on Mother's Day. But whatever, that's CBC, and that's what's going on there. That one's for you, Edward Cam there. Yeah. What's LGBTQ sports programming? Yeah. Well, watch them, and you'll see what's going on there. It's going to be the kind of thing that you're going to like. Okay, what else is happening? Oh, we've got this breaking news story here in Sundry. Breaking news. Where's my breaking news thing here? I need the breaking news sound effect for this one here. Oh, yeah.
Breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news in Sundry, Alberta. The town of Sundry has they were going to have a parade, right, for the rodeo, because every year they have a parade and a rodeo, right? This story here is like, breaks the hearts of the children in Sundry that are so used to watching this parade. So anyways, I don't know who it was, but somebody entered a float in the parade that was going to have a bunch of Alberta flags on it. Not independence, nothing to do with independence. They weren't going to say independence, no signage with independence on it, but just Alberta flags on the float. And the town, or sorry, not the town, but the committee, I guess you could call it, for the parade rejected the float with the Alberta flags as being too political. Can you believe that? Too political. Our Alberta flag is just too political for the town of Sundry in the parade. And they've had that parade for eons there. And the parade is just before the rodeo starts, right? And it's going to be on Saturday. But, hang on. It's not going to be happening because what happened is they told the people with that float with the Alberta flags that they couldn't enter it in the parade. That was the first thing that happened. So then they got a bunch of blowback. Now, hey, as far as we're concerned, okay, so you tell us you can't have a float in there with the Alberta flag. Okay, no big deal. But the pushback on the whole thing with Albertans trying to enter a float with a bunch of Alberta flags in it, the pushback was so great to the committee. And I would imagine that the pushback is probably from those forever Canadian people, because they're so violent and so vulgar that that they're going to be sending messages, nasty messages and stuff like that to the committee. So what happened is the committee got so many nasty messages and stuff that and maybe there was threats against them and stuff like that. Yeah, they even said that, threats. But the Sundry, they rejected the Alberta flags as being too political, first of all, and which it was wrong in my line of thinking, because it's just a flag. But that flag, I will have to admit that the Alberta flag has actually become the symbol of Alberta independence. So just like during the convoy, where the convoy used the Canadian flag, it was the same thing. Is all the lefties are like, oh, that you guys have taken over the Canadian flag, hoodwinked everybody, and now we don't like the Canadian flag anymore because you're using it as a symbol for your convoy. Well, now it's the Alberta flag here is what's happening. So what ended up happening is the town of Sundry, instead of just kicking that float out. Thanks a lot for that super chat. Hey, appreciate that. Thank you very much. Phoenix Tide.
Canada's
Whoa.
next move: remove Jesus from church to support less recognized minority Satanists.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably what'll end up happening. Canada's next move is to remove Jesus from church to support less recognized minority Satanists. Ooh, yeah, that might be what'll end up happening. Thanks a lot for that super chat. Phoenix Tide in there. Woohoo! Big ups to you. Thanks a lot. Yeah. So what happening is that the town of Sundry has said, okay, because of all the blowback on this thing and because of all the nasty comments that we're getting and stuff like that, we're just going to cancel the parade. So the town of Sundry is going to cancel the parade. Oh my gosh. And all the children are no longer going to be able to see the parade. That's who actually is going to be suffering on this whole thing. The people, the children, kids are the ones that like the parade. Everyone in the town likes to sit out there and watch the parade. But because of the blowback, and it is probably the lefties that are in there doing that, because I can't see the right-wingers are going to get, upset and give threats to the town for the whole thing. So what's going to be happening here, interesting enough, is that on Saturday, there's going to be a group of people from Calgary and another group of people from Red Deer that are going to be driving in two separate convoys with a whole bunch of flags on their vehicles, and they're all going to be showing up in Sundry, okay? And the two convoys gathering together are going to be actually doing the parade. So it's going to be a parade of vehicles, a convoy of vehicles that's going to be replacing the actual parade in Sundry. Now, there's also probably going to be a couple of floats, because I think that some people are being invited to have their floats in the parade as well. Maybe some of the original floats are going to be there. So it'll be the Independence flag wavers that are going to basically do the parade for Sundry. And I am seriously thinking of going down there and being part of that parade. I'll be in Sylvan Lake on Saturday, I believe. I will. I'm not sure, though. But if I am there in Sylvan Lake, well, it's about an hour drive to the southwest of Sylvan Lake to get to the town of Sundry. And if I do go there, then I'll be going live on Saturday. And we'll be videoing the parade so that you'll see that on our on our show. So look forward to that happening. That's one of the big things happening with the parade. Let's see. So yeah, Albertans will be getting some money. We've got the Sundry parade thing going on there. It's actually, some pretty exciting stuff happening. I'm looking forward to that happening myself. Let's say whoop whoop, big ups to that one there. We've got some myths about Alberta independence here. Some things going on here. Number one is the myth is that Canada owns the oil. No, Alberta owns the oil. That's what the whole thing is about. The truth is, Alberta owns and controls its natural resources and the royalties and development under government jurisdiction. But what's happening with the royalties is the royalties are being hoodwinked from Alberta, funneled over to Ottawa, and meanwhile, we're running negative deficits. The other thing is support for Alberta independence is just a fringe minority. No, 300,000 people actually signed the petition to go for Alberta independence. So it's not just a fringe minority, that's for sure. It's actually a pretty big group of people. The next untruth is Alberta would fail because it's landlocked. Yeah, people are saying that. Oh, you guys aren't going to be able to do anything because you're landlocked. There's no ocean or whatever. We're already shipping oil to the coast. We've got the railway. We're shipping rail cars of oil. We've got the pipeline down to the States. They're building another pipeline down to the States. So, we're able to actually get our oil and our natural resources out to the people that really want it, even though our province itself is landlocked. And there are plenty of countries over in Europe that don't have any tidewater. Go take a look at maps and you'll see plenty of countries do quite well over there. And Alberta will do exceptionally well. Our economy gives it leverage, export power, and strong negotiating strength for trade, access, and energy corridors. We've got corridors that are happening here right now, and we can even expand on those corridors. And the other one is Crown land doesn't belong to Alberta. And the truth actually is Alberta administers most provincial Crown land. And that federal scarce message, or scare messaging rather, distorts the reality. So, yeah, there is some Crown land in Alberta, but the other land is owned by the province of Alberta. Now, you also have native land where bans are on native land, and that will remain as being reserves, So don't fear. Don't fall for those fear tactics that are going on, okay? Because it's all fear tactics. Know the facts and let's build Alberta's future. Yeah, we can do it. Look at it. Outside my window, it is a real storm out there. We've got rain coming down. You can see rain beating on the window outside my window. I'm looking outside here. The birds are kind of gone away there because they don't like getting too wet. The wind is picking up. And it's kind of actually, and it's really coming down there right now. The rain is really coming down. So we're getting quite a bit of a storm in here today. And yesterday, it was pretty much the same thing. We were getting a lot of rain, and people are going, oh no, it's climate change. The climate is changing. Exactly. The climate is always changing, Some years we get more rain, some years we get less rain, sometimes we get sunshine, sometimes we get cold weather, sometimes we get warm weather. It's like all over the board. It's called the climate. That's what happens. But is the sky falling? Well, maybe today the sky is falling because it is raining quite a bit there. The bird bath outside is getting quite full of water. Take a look at it out there. Holy geez, it's right up to the brim there. And we did get last week there about 3 inches of rain. Sylvan Lake, I can actually visibly see out there at the lake where the water is quite high. It's coming a little bit closer to the shore. And when I'm riding my bike around in Edmonton here, I see the river Ooh, and it's I hear some thunder out there too. So we got lightning and thunder happening. But the river is really high right now, and the creeks like Mill Creek, where I ride my bike, it was really rushing there the other day when I was riding my bike through Mill Creek. So yeah, lots of stuff happening here in Edmonton. Let's see. Keith Wilson says these federalists are promising fantasy. They say Canada can be fixed if Alberta just waits, votes correctly, argues politely, or leads harder. But where is the mechanism? How will equalization be fundamentally changed? How will the Senate be meaningfully transformed? How will Ottawa be prevented from reimposing energy hostile policies after the next election or even before? Hope is not a constitutional plan. Independence is. Yeah, absolutely. We're not going to win at all by staying with the status quo, by doing what we're doing and being in Canada here. The other thing is we're being inundated by too many people, too much mass immigration going on. I've got this story here. Let me just see if I can pull it up here so that you can see it and I can read it at the same time here. This one is coming in from Edmonton here, and this has to do with immigration here in Canada. And it's getting, where you're hearing about these rape gangs and stuff like that over in Europe. Yeah, well, we're suffering from that same stuff here in Canada because we've got similar immigrants coming over here with their similar ideas going on. We've got this story coming in here. It's somebody posting this on X right here from my own city saying, "Hello, I'm hoping you can share this information. My daughter was walking with her friend yesterday evening when a dark gray van with 5 to 6 East Indian men approached them. The men tried to get them into the van, coming up with the sliding door open and yelling. I have some videos, but we're trying to obtain the license plate or have somebody identify them. Throughout the incident, they were recording the girls. It happened on a busy road, Rutherford, and it was still light out. The event occurred yesterday at 8 p.m. So yeah, we're putting up with crap like this, where these guys are trying to lure young girls into their vans, 5 or 6 East Indian men in a van doing stuff like this, and it's starting to get out of hand, absolutely out of hand as to what's happening. We've got these similar people doing home invasions. They've got guns. You've got illegal guns. They're robbing stores, jewelry stores, all kind of stuff like that. Stealing cars. The lawlessness is absolutely getting out of hand. It is like completely terrible, and we have to do something about it. So why is it that this stuff is happening, and why is it that a whole bunch of countries have all of a sudden, participating in this mass immigration stuff? Is it the George Soros crew? Is it the globalists? It's all outside of Canada. You know that because you have it happening in Canada, you have it happening in France, Spain, Sweden, the UK. Australia, New Zealand, you have mass immigration happening in all these countries. Now, why is it happening? Why is it happening? Because you've got the globalists have brainwashed all of the politicians. When these politicians take these trips to Davos and to these globalist conventions, they get brainwashed, okay? And they get brainwashed to think that mass immigration is a good thing for your country. But, once you see that it's not a good thing for your country, ooh, big thunder happening. Why don't they do something about it? Like stop the mass immigration. You know that you've brought too many people in. Just stop it. And in Canada here, they haven't stopped it. They backed off a little bit with the mass immigration, but they absolutely have not stopped bringing people in. And why do they keep bringing people in from the same places? Like in Canada here, it's East India. It's like tons and tons and tons of people from East India. And why aren't they bringing people in from, some of the European countries? Why is it East India? And why is it just literally, I wish I had the graph here too, where it shows the countries where they're bringing people in from, and it's just the graph is like way off the chart for East India here. It's absolutely crazy what the globalists have done to destroy our country. Our fabric of life in our country is absolutely ruined, Edward Cam. You might not think so, but I know so, okay? I'm watching what's going on, and I'm seeing that it's not right, it's not good, and a lot of people are not happy. Is absolutely, that's the problem. One of the problems that we have here is what's called equalization payments here in Canada. And actually, we paid Quebec over $100 billion in equalization payments in the last 10 years. Not coincidentally, that's more than our provincial debt. Funny that you banksters want us to keep borrowing money so Quebec can run successive surplus budgets. Yeah, why are they running a surplus budget in Quebec and we're running a negative budget in Alberta here? And we're having to give $100 billion bucks to Quebec. Like, it's not fair. And you know why that they're getting that money? Because they threaten to separate. They threaten to separate from Canada. So they're getting a whole bunch of money so that they won't separate. Well, guess what? We're threatening to separate now in Alberta. And you know why we're separating? Because you're lifting so much money from the province of Alberta, and we're sick and tired of it already, and we want to do something about it. Susan K., what? It's not true. They have absolutely tightened the immigration policy. Yes, I'm not saying that they haven't, but they're still letting hundreds of thousands of people into the country, Susan. Look it up. Go look it up for yourself. It's not like they've stopped immigration. They're still probably there's 300,000 immigrants coming into Canada here in this year. So that is not stopping immigration. And when you say, "Oh, they've tightened up immigration," yeah, from 1 million to 300,000, but they're not stopping it. But they have overburdened us with so many millions of immigrants over the last 10 years that they need to actually remigrate, send people back instead of still bringing. Why are you still bringing 300,000 into Canada? Why are you bringing any people into Canada when you've already overburdened us with what you've done? So don't say that. No, that's not right. Yeah, and what they're doing is not enough. It's not enough, Susan. It's not enough. Go walk around. Go take a look. Go see it. Is this Canada or is this a different country? This is now a different country. I don't feel. Look at what the story that I just told you about, where girls are not feeling safe walking around in the city because you've got guys like this that are luring the girls. These guys are like sex starved or whatever, and they're looking for women to have sex with. Women are not feeling happy living in the country anymore. Wow, we had a big lightning strike just a minute ago. I might go off the air. If I do, it might be because we get a power bump or something here because the lightning is really, really close to where I'm at here right now. In fact, you might see a lightning strike with this view out right outside my window here. But things are getting bad. This story about the luring of girls is just one of many, many, many things that are happening right now because of all these people that are coming in here. It's not a good situation. And I'm not trying to pick on any particular people, but it's not me that brought millions of East Indians into the country. It was the federal government that did that. Blame the Liberals, blame Trudeau, and now blame Mark Carney for this stuff that's going on. Remember, it was Mark Carney that was advising Trudeau to what to do while Trudeau was in power. So absolutely, these guys are doing stuff like that. Okay. We've got one country allowed millions of low IQ immigrants to flood in while the other didn't. Yeah. Like, take a look at this here. This is the difference between France and Poland. Take a look. Where would you rather live? France on the left or Poland on the right? Okay. One country has allowed millions of low IQ migrants to flood in. I wonder which one that was. Well, the other didn't. Yeah. And what are we getting here in Canada? We're getting a bunch of people coming in here that are disrespecting our flag. They're burning our flag. They're saying death to Canadians, death to North Americans, death to USA. We're hearing stories of, oh, we're going to take over the world. We want our religion to take over the world. We're letting a whole bunch of people in that are saying stuff like that. You must know that. Have you ever heard that? Have you heard that where there's religions that want to take over the world? Well, why the hell would you let those people that are saying they want to take over the world into your country? Why? Why? What good is it going to do to you? What do you want? Do you want to be living under something like Sharia law? You're already seeing that you've got places in the UK where they're setting up no-go zones, where even the police are afraid to go into those areas. They brought in their own Sharia law into those areas and are looking at stuff for themselves. And it's gone to the point that average people are afraid to walk in those areas. Look at have you seen the city of Brantford is a really good example in Canada. Brantford, okay? Do some research on Brantford, Canada. Find out what's happening to that city. Find out what regular people are feeling like living in that city of Brantford in Ontario, okay? Really, honestly, Edmonton is not all that much different, really. I look and see who's working at the 7-Eleven store, who's working at the fast food A&W, who's working at the Wendy's store, who's working at the Tim Hortons store, who's working at the at any store at a retail level. It's not regular Canadian people. It's a whole bunch of temporary foreign workers that they're bringing in, or they're immigrants that they're bringing in, and it's like the fabric of the economy has changed. The problem is that guys like Mark Carney, who think that they know what they're doing, are actually trying to increase what's known as the GDP of Canada by bringing immigrants into the country. That's what they're doing. They're going, oh, we have to increase the GDP of the country. How are we going to do that? We have to bring in more immigrants, right? And that's what they've been doing for the last 10 years. They've been trying to prop up our GDP instead of actually working on having people start businesses and produce real things. Maybe put up some tariffs against this Chinese stuff that's coming into the country and start producing more of the stuff ourselves. Maybe we could have factories producing shirts, maybe socks, maybe underwear, maybe blue jeans, maybe all kind of stuff like that. Maybe we could be producing that kind of stuff in Canada instead of buying that cheap stuff from China and putting the companies like, there used to be a company in Edmonton called GWG that manufactured blue jeans, and they got undercut by when we started trading with China, and they had to shut down the entire factory. Hey, that's what's happening right across Canada. Oh, and what are we doing now? We're bringing in cheap Chinese cars. It's like we're gonna build our own cars in Canada here. And then what does Carney do? He brings in cheap Chinese cars. But he goes, shh, hey, Trump, we're only bringing in 49,000 cheap Chinese spy cars. And Trump goes, well, yeah. Yeah. Well, Carney, not a good idea. Not a good idea. If you want to have any kind of an automotive industry in Canada, you don't bring in cheap Chinese cars to undercut any kind of an industry that might flourish here in Canada. We're not going to be building anything in Canada here. And if we're working a deal with China to have them build those Chinese cars in Canada, you know what'll happen? They'll half build the cars in China. They'll ship them over here in a couple of parts, whatever, and just bring over the Chinese immigrants to assemble those Chinese cars in Canada, and it will be no better. In fact, they've done that in South America. They did it in South America, and it didn't work out all that well. Not at all. I was just reading a story about that just the other day. So yeah, we're doing exactly the wrong things in order to increase business and increase jobs within our own country. Instead of putting tariffs up against the cheap stuff coming in from other countries and manufacturing stuff here ourselves in Canada, we're just flooding ourselves with cheap stuff And there's no way that anyone is going to set up shop in Canada to manufacture anything. And in order to increase our gross domestic product, we're bringing in immigrants to do that. Oh my God! Like the government is just so foolish, so foolish. You can't make a country great by bringing in immigrants. That's not the way to do it. You have to bring jobs back home. Bring the jobs back home. Trump has the right idea with what he's doing. He's making America great again by bringing the jobs back to the US of A. Carney, on the other hand, is not bringing any jobs back to Canada. He's not. He's not. Absolutely, he's not. He's doing nothing to do that. What he's doing is bringing in immigrants to increase the GDP. In fact, we're into a recession here in Canada. You know what a recession is? That means that we're not doing all that well. For two quarters in a row, and actually it's been happening. Maybe not 2 quarters back, but we've been doing poorly probably for the last 5 years, not doing very well at all. And we need to do something about that. But, don't worry about it. It's only a technical recession. It's not a real recession. It's only a technical recession because it's only 2 quarters. Wait one more quarter. Wait one more quarter, okay? And then it will be a real recession. I guess we'll see what's going to happen with that. Yeah. Yeah. Susan says, if my cheap Chinese EV doors on me, what? The only thing they will glean is how much of my day is centered around groceries. Yeah, Susan. Well, you'll be driving your cheap Chinese car around town here, and we won't be building any Canadian cars at all because you guys will be buying the cheap Chinese stuff there, and you'll be happy. You'll be doing good. But hey, it's each to his own. And look at the warranty on those Chinese cars too. I was looking at that. They don't even warranty the whole car. They selectively warranty different things in those Chinese cars differently. Like the battery, they'll give you an 8-year warranty. But on the screen, the liquid crystal screen, the display screen, they're only going to give you a very short warranty on that. Now, why is that? Is it because they know that the thing will probably go bad on you, a lot sooner than 8 years? And the rest of the stuff in there's lots of things that you're going to get really crappy warranty on because they're coming up with their own warranties, and they're going to be way poorer warranty on the Chinese vehicles than you find with North American cars. So be careful when you buy that Chinese car. Look very carefully at the warranty and understand that it's not good. Okay, what happened? In the States, we had the thing that happened with the MAGA supporters. Were really happy because they had the 250 thing happening in front of the White House, and it was lots of action going on. We had stuff like this happening where we had lots of entertainment. You had bikes and whatever flying in the air, and we had some kind of MMA type fights going on there, like lots of stuff. Trump had a big thing going on there, and it was actually quite a spectacular thing that was happening. Absolutely. Hang on, but before we go to that story, let's come in with this story here with the Muslim Brotherhood, and let's listen to what they have to say here first before that. The Muslim Brotherhood, which is leaders, and they openly explain how they plan to take over America and Europe. Maybe you haven't heard this before, and you're going, nah, keep on with the mass immigration. Keep bringing them in, and you maybe haven't heard what's actually going on here. Let's listen to this little story here, this quick little quip here about the Muslim Brotherhood here. Okay, what do they have to say? Let's hear how nice they are here and how they might be affecting your life here.
700 years of our trial to conquer Europe by force failed. They did something wrong, very wrong. They tried for many years to conquer Europe through wars. only wars.
This is the soft Islamic conquest of the West. Basically, what the Islamic and again, I'm an Orthodox Muslim. What we couldn't do in the last, say, 20 years, now the West is doing it for us for free and even paying for it.
Allah permitted them to live off the infidel while they are subduing them. So it had sort of a parasitic type of attitude where they can live off of the host country, where their goal is to eventually eradicate the host culture and supplant it with Islam.
700 years of our trial to conquer Europe by force failed. They did something wrong, very wrong. They tried for many years to conquer Europe through wars, only wars.
This is,
You see? Are you listening? They tried to conquer Europe through wars, and it didn't work. So now it's a soft invasion is what they're actually doing. And I'm not making this up either. You know, you guys might go, oh, you're just fear-mongering, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But now there's a much easier way. We can peacefully infiltrate via immigration with the help from naive Western governments and voters, just like you. Are you naive? Are you going, oh no, don't worry about it, you know? And you know, there are going to be those of you that say, well, no, I have a friend and my friend is such a nice person, okay? It's a numbers thing. It's a numbers game, okay? The nice people are nice for a certain amount of time until the numbers are there. Have you seen the pictures in places like Toronto, the larger cities where you have larger numbers, or in Montreal, where they go out into the streets and they show force by all praying in the middle of the street, where you see literally hundreds of people blocking traffic, taking over, showing their numbers, showing their force, and praying out in the streets. Have you ever traveled to a Muslim country? Have you ever seen them praying out in the streets in the Muslim country? No, because they don't do that. They don't do that over in their countries. They don't. They go to the mosque. They pray in their mosques. I've been to lots of Muslim countries, and I've never once seen, 50 or 100 or 200 people praying out in the streets in a Muslim country. Never, ever. So why are they doing that here in Canada? Because it's a show of force. They want to show you and I that they have the numbers. They're not just a small potato thing that's going on, and that there's more and more of them happening all the time. And, they don't just have small families. It's just not a guy, or a married couple. You usually have lots of kids, lots of children. So they're coming in and they are populating like crazy. And just like these guys are saying, it's a soft takeover that's happening. And, you guys, everyone is going to say, yeah, well, Tommy Temper, you're racist for saying that. Call me whatever you want, but I'm not racist. I'm just pointing out exactly what's happening. You can believe me or not believe me. I'm not trying to be racist in what I'm saying. I'm just plain pointing out the obvious. Some of you don't understand what's going on. Some of you have never heard this before. Some of you have heard it, and then you go like, over your head, where you go, oh, wow, you're just crazy and you're a conspiracy theorist and blah, 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 the rest of it. But take it at face value, or, if you don't like it and you're just going to hide under a rock or hide in your house and you're not going to go out shopping and see what's going on, go out shopping. Go shopping once in a while. See who's out there. See what's happening. Go over to your Costco store or to a Walmart or any kind of a, big box type of a place and see who exactly is there. What's happening to your country? Is your country the same as it was? or has it changed? Okay, and is it changing? Are we experiencing a soft takeover to where eventually, once the numbers are there and once the people have taken over our governments, that's why I say you should be born in your country in order to be a politician. Okay, because what happens is you have the newcomers coming into the country, and then they right away jump into your government, and then they start pushing stuff in the government. Like one of the things that they've pushed, I noticed that, which was a few years back, is they pushed in Islamophobia laws. Well, why would they do that? Why? Do we have Christian laws? Do we have, stuff like that where you can't talk badly about a Christian? I don't know that we have anything like that. So why is it that we have Islamophobia laws? Oh, it's so that I won't talk badly about them. I'm not talking badly about them either. I'm just pointing out the obvious. I'm pointing out exactly what's going on. I'm not happy about it, and you shouldn't be happy either.
It's all fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen.
It did happen, and it is happening, and it's happening all around us, and you need to be aware of it, okay? Don't be just, like I say, hiding with your head under a rock and not, watching exactly what's happening. We need to be more aware of where we live and what's happening to the land that we live in. Eventually, imagine Canada or the USA in 20 years from now. You continue on with mass immigration. 20 years from now, it's going to be, well, you better be changing your religion. Christianity will no longer be here, and it really doesn't matter whether you're Christian or not. And a lot of people, they say stuff like, yeah, well, you're a white Christian nationalist or whatever. My background is Christian, but I don't go to church every day. I have Christian values. I would say that I have Christian values a lot more than I have Muslim values. And remember what Carney said? Carney said Muslim values are Canadian values. Well, what? Sharia law? Do you want Sharia law? Do you want to be wearing a burqa? Do you want to be wearing a letterbox like this where your eyes are looking like this? And I saw 2 women wearing letterbox burqas in the last week, okay? One of them was outside of a convenience store where her hubby or whatever was walking with her down the street. And another one was I went for a bite to eat in a chicken joint. And, the 2 of them show up there, and she's all dressed all in black with just her eyes like this looking out of her outfit, and she didn't even look at me, she was afraid to look at me. And apparently she's wearing that thing so that her hubby, doesn't, or her hubby is able to control her and make sure that no man even looks at her. And do you want that? Do you want to be wearing that kind of a thing? Is that the society that you want to be living in? That's what they're fighting for over in Iran. Iran was taken over by the Islamic regimists. They were Christian. The Persian people in Iran were Christian people. They were taken over by the Ayatollah Khomeini and his Islamic regime, and he forced the Islam way of life on them, to where the women were wearing miniskirts, bikinis, and having fun and dancing out in the streets and doing all kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden they had to all cover up and make sure that they're not dancing in public or anything like that. And no stuff that you would have in a Western world. So yeah, pretty crazy. Craziness. Oh, hang on here. This is a weird one here. Oh, it's such a
October.
What the heck? This is like the weirdest thing that I've seen here. This is from my good friend, Unacceptable Fringe, where he posted this.
October.
And I don't know why he posted that, but go watch it if you haven't. Oh, he did an interview with Danielle Smith, the other day on Friday. It was, eh? So it's over on Unacceptable Fringe's channel. So go over there and watch that interview with Danielle Smith. And actually, I watched it, and it was a pretty interesting interview. It's not here. He didn't post it on here.
October.
But he posted that where it's over on there. Apparently, he thinks it's over for Daniel Smith. And Daniel Smith is going to be giving us the money. We're going to be getting a check from Daniel Smith. Everyone in Alberta is going to be getting a check from the government, and it's supposedly going to be announced today. I don't know how much that check is. The last check that we got was $400 when Ralph Klein was the premier of Alberta. So we'll have to see. But too bad that you don't live in Alberta. Oh, I'm so sad. So sad that you're living in Ontario, because all you're going to get is Doug Ford pouring a bottle of booze on you. You know, you might be going like this. Keep your mouth open when Doug Ford pours out that bottle of booze there. Maybe you might get a glug of it or something like that if you live in Ontario. But if you live in Alberta, we'll be getting some Canadian bucks while we're still in Canada. We'll get some Canadian bucks. I wonder how much we'll get. Will we get $500? I wonder. Maybe I'll take it and go to the casino and see if I can parlay it to 1,000 or something like that. That would be good. We'll have to see how much we actually get, but I'm looking forward to that announcement. Ooh, and I'll have the cash in hand here as soon as that check arrives at the door. But otherwise, we're definitely going for Alberta independence. And you can see I've got the sign out there. Do you see that Alberta independence sign out there on my balcony, that blue sign right there? Yeah. Well, I've got two of them up on either side of my balcony there. And I've got a blue flag on my truck. And I've got a decal on the back of my truck that says Alberta independence. And I also have another decal that says, like F. Kearney. Right? That's a pretty good one. So, we're seeing more and more of these signs going up all over the place. People are putting up signs, Alberta independence signs. They're going up all over the province, all over the place, even in farmyards. People are looking at getting signs up on the side of the road. You've got these big semi-trailers advertising signs and stuff like that. There's going to be some giant signs going up. You've got ones like this that are like 4 by 8 feet, big signs, whatever. So, this whole Alberta independence thing is going really, really good. Send Ottawa a message. Choose Alberta is what some of the signs say. Other signs. Now, we've got various entities that are collecting money from people and coming up with signs and stuff like that. Interesting. Meanwhile, in the States, as you know, Donald Trump had the 250 big thing. They had the big MMF fight that happened there, the big thing in front of the White House. But the Democrats had their own rally. Like you could call it like an anti-Trump rally, or I don't know what you call it, a counter program to the UFC. Oh yeah, it was the UFC, the fight, the UFC, not MMA, UFC. It's like. You had them with their rally. So check out this Democrat rally that happened. It was called Take Action at riseupsingout.com. So they had their own rally going on here. This is what the Democrat rally was like.
No one is getting left behind this time. No one is getting left behind.
Al Munson, this one's for you.
No one is getting left behind this time.
Cannabis Rex, you're on this side here.
Together or never.
This is the Democrat side over in the States.
No one
excellent. Great.
Behind this time. No one is getting left behind. Not this time. No one is getting left.
Oh, I wish I would have been able to watch the whole event. It just sounds so exciting.
No one is getting left behind.
Oh my God.
No one is getting left behind.
not this time. No one.
What do you think of this one? This is for all the Democrats out there.
Get there together or never get there at all. This time, no one.
Oh, geez. Hang on. I can't handle that. I can't handle any more of that. That's how bad that is. That's no, even I could sing that. No one is getting left behind this time. No one is getting left behind. No one is getting left behind this time. Oh, my God. But wait, there's more. There's more. That wasn't just it. There was more entertainment that happened. There was more singing, more festivities, and just as great. It was a fun time. The Democrat anti-Trump rally that was going on. Let's see if we can put up with this one.
Oh, you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose. Hey there, all you fascists. Let me put you straight. When you come for the rest of us, we'll fight you at the gate and you will lose. You fascists bound to lose.
Oh, my God.
Oh, you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose.
What's she saying? You fascists. She's calling, it's the Democrats. They put on an act where they're actually calling people fascists. Oh, my God.
Fascists bound to lose. Hey there, all you fascists. Let me put you straight. When you come for the rest of us, we'll fight you at the gate and you will lose. You fascists bound to lose. Oh, you fascists bound to lose.
There's another one for Al Munson.
You fascists bound to lose. Hey there, all you fascists. Let me put you straight. When you come for the rest of us, we'll fight you at the gate and you will lose. You fascists bound to lose.
Yoo-hoo.
Oh, you fascists bound to lose. You're bound to lose. You fascists bound to lose.
Oh, my God. I can't listen to this anymore. What the hell's the matter with you Democrats? What's the matter with you people? Unfrickin' believable. Meanwhile, Trump, was like, it was like the biggest and best thing since sliced bread, had the jets going over, jets flying and all kind of stuff going on there. It was like, wow, like great times. Meanwhile, these guys are shouting crap about the fascists. Let's check out this one here. This one might have some music. No music. Meanwhile, at the Trump event, big flyover is happening, and fights going on in that big in this big thing here that was set up in front of the White House. Flybys happening. Just exceptional times going on there. And hang on. Let's see. There was this bit here from one of the fighters here. Now, I'm not really into the fighting thing, but this was actually going on there. Let's see. And Josh Hokett is who's talking here. Let's listen to what Josh Hokett has to say. Apparently, he was the winner of the fight here. And let's see what he has to say here after the event. This here, you can't make this shit up. Is yeah. That's funny. Michelle Obama is a man. He had to say that. I don't know. Like, honestly, if I was putting the event on, I probably would have vetted the people that are going to be, in front of millions of people to make sure that, what they said was acceptable. That is funny that he would say that. That topped off the whole Trump event right there. That was like the pinnacle of the whole thing. Oh, you can't make that up. Yeah, I had to laugh when I saw that. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that he would say that. I don't know. Is Michelle Obama a man? In fact, what about this guy's wife? I'm questioning myself about this guy's wife here because she kind of appears to be a man too, and his kid is a transvestite. So, I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on there. There's all kind of weird stuff going on with these people in power, The only one I trust as being a regular guy would be Trump. He looks like a regular guy, and his wife looks like a regular woman. But everybody else out there, like, look at Macron and his wife there over in France. Like, you've got a bunch of these people that get into power. Like I said, it's like strangeness that's going on there. Absolutely strangeness. Here's something from a guy over in Iran. Like, I mean, you hear me talking about Iran all the time, right? This is an Iranian who survived Sharia prison in Iran, and he warns the West, Islamification always begins with the left uniting with the Islamists. Okay, exactly what we're talking about here. He escaped tyranny for Canada's freedom, only to watch the same deadly alliance of appeasement and betrayal unfold across the West. Weakness invites conquest, and they will never stop. He's talking about the Islamists, okay? So, I'm saying be wary. Have you ever gone out with somebody, if you're a woman, you've gone out with a man, or if you're a man, you've gone out with a woman, and all of your friends all around you say, don't trust that person. They're not good for you. Dump that person. You're going to be in trouble, and then you never listen to your friends. And then at the end of the day, at some point in time, you split up with them and you go, yeah, my friends were right about that. That's what's going on here with where we're living. Everyone that you're listening to and all the stuff, you're considering it to be noise out here. It's just noise. The world goes on and everything is great, and there's noise that's going on all around you, and you're not listening to the noise. You're just going, those guys, it's a bunch of bullshit. It's a conspiracy theory, whatever. Yeah, let's listen to what this guy has to say about Islamism in Iran.
I'm a political refugee from Iran. I've been to prison. I've been under Islamic law, and I know how it starts and I know how it ends. And it always starts with for some reason, unity of left and Islamists, and it scares me. So I came here to be free. I chose Canada as my second home to live in a free country. And I'm beginning to get really scared because the way things are going, it looks like they're going to basically appease Islamists just to not raise any ruckus or something. They're just going to appease them step by step, and they're not going to stop. They see it as a sign of weakness, so they're going to take more and more, and I'm against that. I'm a political refugee from Iran.
So,
I've been to prison.
Don't listen to me. Don't listen to Tommy Temper, who's just sitting here watching what's going on. Listen to the people that actually have experienced it, okay? Like him. He's experienced it. He knows exactly what's going on. He knows what it's like to actually go to jail in that kind of a country, under that kind of a regime. And it's not good. And what we're doing is we're actually inviting it over. And like we heard earlier, it's like a soft takeover that's happening. And it's not a good situation at all. It's craziness that's happening. Here's the story. Oh, where we talked to you about the Streisand effect and the billboard that went up. Yeah, we had one of our billboards, a little sign like you see right there, but there was a billboard in a town that got put up, and the whole thing was taken down by the town. The town didn't want to have that billboard up there because you had a bunch of people that don't like Alberta independence, right? So that's basically what ended up happening. Let's listen to this story here.
Well, as you know, I'm originally from Alberta, and in so many ways, the heart of Rebel News is in Alberta, even though our studio is in Toronto. Sheila Gunn-Reid is our chief reporter out there. She's also the head of a so-called third-party campaign group to make sure we can get the facts out there for the Alberta independence referendum, or what's turning into a referendum about a referendum. One of our friends out there who's been working with us in different ways, for example, he comes on our live streams from time to time, and we just republished a new edition of his book called The Sovereigntist Handbook, is our friend Corey Morgan. And he's dyed-in-the-wool Albertan who has set up a third-party group as well. And he's put up a billboard by the side of the road near Taber, Alberta, one of the most conservative places in the province. The billboard is very innocuous. We'll put a picture of it on the screen now. There's nothing coarse about the language. There's nothing radical. It is, you know, I don't want to be mean, but it's a bland message. Send Ottawa a message, choose Alberta. Like there's nothing offensive whatsoever there. As you can see in the fine print underneath, authorized by Pathway to Independence, that's Corey's group, so it complies with all the rules. Incredibly, this sign has been threatened by the bureaucrats in Taber. Joining us now to talk about this is Corey Morgan. Corey, can it be true? Is that Taber, one of the most right-wing places in the world, and they're mad with the most simple message, send Ottawa a message? Like that, how can you even be mad at that?
I don't know. Of all the towns, it's not Nelson, BC or something like that. I'd heard from others there's actually a big pro-life billboard in the town, which everybody's perfectly fine with. But there'd been some complaints given to the town office, and the town office sent a letter to the company that hosts the sign and demanded that he remove it. And at this point, it's still up there. We're seeing how, because it's an unreasonable request, and it's, as you said, a pretty innocuous, bland sign. I don't think it's setting a good precedent if towns can start determining who may or may not advertise on private space during a campaign.
Yeah, I'm going to say innocuous, not bland. I didn't mean to say bland. I was just making the point that you'd have to work pretty hard to be upset with that message. I mean, in all 10 provinces and 3 territories, I'm sure people like to send a message to Ottawa. It's not an unusual thing to call for. When it comes to freedom of speech, obviously a private sign, as long as it's not breaking the law of obscenity or something, or defamation, it should be left alone. In our jurisprudence over freedom of speech, political speech is deemed to be one of the most protected species of speech there is, because it's not just for the interests of the talker and the listening and the interests of the listener. It's an integral part of our democracy. So for them to target this sign is sort of crazy. But, as these things sometimes happen, the Streisand effect, Corey, that when people criticize something, all of a sudden it draws a lot of attention to it, as what happens to Barbara Streisand's house.
Free advertising.
Tell us about the Streisand effect. When some town bullies tried to get that sign taken down, it turned into something wonderful. Why don't you tell us?
Well, since this has happened, I've done some things that are pretty rare. I've done some legacy media interviews as well, and they typically like to pretend that our, type of advocacy doesn't exist. As well, I've had now donations of thousands and thousands of dollars with people expressly donating for me to put more billboards up around the province. So I got another one that's live on Highway 1 over on the east side of Calgary, or the east side of Alberta. And I'm negotiating with a few other spots to get even more billboards going. So our strategy is, if you keep trying to get them banned, I'm going to keep getting donors, and we're only going to spread farther. And I can only thank the complainants for this, because it really brought us into the scroll to reach out to that many more supporters.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I hope that the town of Tabor goes no further. I think they made a mistake by sending a communication to the billboard company. I'm glad so far the billboard company has held firm. And I just don't. I think they need to be corrected. But
Yeah,
you did
the billboards
turn
are
into lemonade.
still up.
We have I mentioned a moment ago, we have a third-party group as well. Yours has done superbly well. It's all public information. It's all filed with the government, so it's no secret for me to say, I think you've raised 26 grand on this, on people coming to your aid. Am I right?
That's what's on the Elections Alberta site. And actually, we don't report yet all the donations under $50. And we're still a day or two behind on that. So actually, it's over 41,000 now, which
Wow.
was well and beyond in a week that we thought we'd raise a few $1,000s and get a few hundred lawn signs out. And this is people were obviously eager to find something to start moving a campaign along here. So it's been
Isn't
fantastic.
that great? Well, good for you for standing firm. And I saw on Twitter a picture of you just jamming your Hyundai full of lawn signs. You know, it's a painstaking business delivering lawn signs, but there's really no better way to meet people, because the people who take lawn signs are some of the best people around. They're showing some courage. Have you been out and about delivering those? Because I remember, you know, I'm 54, but when I was 29, half a lifetime ago, I briefly ran for the Canadian Alliance. I was a candidate in Calgary South.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
To
Daniel Smith is live right now. Okay. Actually, let me go and try and find that live and see if I can bring her up here. Hang on a second.
So that they can share in the royalty increases that are taking place in the province. As for the $9 billion deficit, it's too early.
Let me just see where
of rising costs.
It is at here. Okay. Yeah, we'll bring that up, that clip with Daniel Smith live.
I'm here with Jason Nixon, President of Treasury Board and Minister of Finance, RJ Sigurdsson, Minister of Affordability Utilities, and Jeff Dyer, CEO of Trellis Society, to talk about our government's latest actions to make life more affordable for all Albertans. All across our province, families are feeling the pressure of rising costs, whether it's groceries, rent, utilities, or fuel. Many Albertans are asking the same question: how did life get this expensive? The fact is, there isn't a single cause. Costs are high thanks to a combination of global, national, and provincial factors that have all come together at once. Here in Alberta, for example, rapid population growth has been putting pressure on things like housing, infrastructure, and services. When demand rises faster than supply, you see prices climb. Globally, higher prices for oil and gas are increasing costs for fuel and utilities. At the same time, those stronger...
Hang on a second. If you look closely, she's at a location where there's a whole bunch of gas pumps behind her. It looks like a bunch of antique gas pumps. I wonder exactly where she is, where that setting is there behind her. But obviously, she's going to be talking about reducing the price of gas, okay? So that'll be putting some money in our pockets. I wonder if she's going to be actually delivering us a check in the mail as well. So let's listen to this.
Prices mean Alberta is seeing increased revenues that help support the services that Albertans rely on every day, like schools and hospitals and roads. But our government recognizes that families are feeling the pinch, which is why we're taking action to put more money back in their pockets. Beginning July 1st, nearly 3.4 million Albertans will be eligible to receive $100 through the new Alberta Energy Rebate. The Energy Rebate will put tax dollars collected over recent months of elevated energy prices back in the hands of Albertans to help with the cost of fuel and other household needs. Rather than relying on retailers to pass on the fuel tax relief, this approach will ensure elevated oil revenues deliver real benefits to Albertans, benefits that don't disappear at the
$100.
pumps. This rebate replaces the fuel tax relief program, which temporarily paused all or part of the 13-cent per liter provincial fuel tax when oil prices reaches a certain threshold. When the federal government suspended its 10 cents a liter fuel excise tax earlier this year, those savings were seemingly erased at the pumps within days and before Albertans could actually feel any relief. In practical terms, the energy rebate gives Albertans real returns now on the higher oil prices already seen in the previous months, delivering families, we estimate, over 50% more than the fuel tax relief program was projected to provide over the next 3 months. So whether the priority is groceries, bills, rent, or fuel, the energy rebate ensures flexible support, with guaranteed support for every eligible Albertan, driver or not. On top of having the second lowest taxes on fuel in the country at 13 cents a liter, Alberta's competitive low tax environment has also helped to keep the average fuel price relatively lower than the rest of the country, 156.3 cents per liter, compared to the Canadian average of 171.2 cents per liter. But there is more to do. While some things are beyond our control, we'll continue to find ways to help Albertans cope in the face of rising prices. We're engaging with grocery retailers to find ways to address the rising cost of essential food items, and we continue to focus on long-term affordability, including lowering personal income taxes so families save up to $1,500 per year, cutting red tape, and working to promote a strong and growing economy that creates more jobs, opportunities, and stability, and put real dollars back into the pockets of Albertans. I'll now turn it over to Minister Jason Nixon to share a few more details about the program and also detail how Albertans can receive the rebate.
Wow.
Well, thank you, Premier, and good afternoon, everybody. When oil prices are high, everyone feels it, not just at the pumps, but in the price of groceries, utilities, and everyday goods. Albertans deserve relief and the freedom to use the relief where and when it matters the most for their families. That's why starting July 1st, Alberta's government is putting direct, immediate support into the hands of nearly 3.4 million eligible Albertans through the Alberta Energy Rebate. Every eligible Albertan will receive a guaranteed $100 payment. A two-adult household will receive $200, and families can receive an additional $100 for each eligible adult child and family member living in the same home. We trust Albertans to know what their families need most, whether the pressure is on groceries, rent, bills, or fuel. The Alberta Energy Rebate ensures the choice.
Adult child.
We hope peace deals advance between Iran and the United States. We know how volatile global.
Hang on. So for me, where I have two children that aren't adults, I'll get $100 for me and $100 for my wife, but nothing for my two kids because they aren't adult children. So $100 per adult, I guess, in a family. So yeah, well, it's better than nothing, I guess. You know, what can I say? Plus, fuel is cheaper here in Alberta than it is in most of Canada, but I think it's probably cheaper than in the States. So yeah, this was something that we knew that was going to happen. But I was hoping for a little more than that. That's for sure. Like Kinna says there, yeah, $100. Yeah. I'll be taking my $100 to the casino and seeing if I can parlay it to 1,000. Okay, let's see how that works out.
Conflicts and reactive oil markets can be, and the major impact they have already had on the costs to Albertans. We have seen average prices of gas in Alberta over the past month alone from lows of $1.50 to as high as $1.80 just over a month. The Alberta Energy Rebate,
yeah, 170 is a good number.
In recent months of
169
prices and returns it directly to the pockets of Albertans, so they can see relief now rather than waiting for relief to hopefully materialize at the pump. The reality is that the government has very little ability to influence gas prices, and when gas is sitting above $1.60 a liter, whether you're paying 13 cents in fuel tax or not, that's what Albertans notice. We saw that when the federal government suspended their 10 cents fuel tax this year, those savings were erased at the pump within days before Albertans could actually feel that relief. And with price fluctuating the way they are now, provincial tax relief can disappear just as easily before anything actually benefits. The Alberta Energy Rate delivers relief immediately and avoids that volatility. On average, eligible Albertans will see over 50% more savings per person than the fuel tax relief would have provided, especially if oil prices continue to drop. And unlike fuel tax relief, this rebate reaches every single Albertan, driver or not. This includes seniors, vulnerable Albertans, transit users, and remote workers who would not have seen 1 cent from fuel tax relief, but are still dependent on increase in affordability prices because of the price of oil. Any Alberta resident 18 years or older who has filed the 2025 tax return and has a household income of $225,000 or less is eligible. That's around 70% of Albertans, 85% of adult Albertans, 3.4 million Albertans to be specific. Albertans that are receiving the Alberta Senior Benefit, AISH, ADAP, or income support will automatically be enrolled. No application needed. Starting July 1st, all other eligible Albertans can apply through the secure online portal available at alberta.ca. The application window will run until September 30th, and we want...
Yeah, you're right, Big D. We'll get $100 each and cost $600, and well, definitely we'll be paying for administrative fees. They should have just reduced the price at the gas pump, is what they should have done. Then there's no administration fees, you know. That would have been the right thing to do, and they should have done it not right now, but they should have done it a few months ago, because now the very latest price for oil, let me just take a look here, is about $75 for WTI crude. There's the latest price there. Look at how it's dropped down. Trump announced that he's got a deal with Iran, and do you see how just in the last little bit there, the price of oil has dropped down, and it's kind of staying down too. It hasn't popped back up again. So I don't know if that war is over or not, but apparently the price of crude is looking at that. Now, oil was at about $60 a barrel before this whole war thing happened. So it's popped up to, you know, it was over $100 a barrel. Now it's down to 75. So that's where we're at with that price of oil here. But whatever. Hey, what's your province doing? Are you getting any bucks in your pockets wherever you live in Canada? No, it's only here in Alberta. We're like, we're reaping the benefits of living in Alberta. You know, we don't have provincial tax here at all, but we do have the gouge and screw tax. Why the hell doesn't the federal government get rid of the GST that we pay on our fuel, on all of our fuel? That's ridiculous.
Every Albertan to take advantage of this. The Alberta Energy Rebate builds on the foundation that already makes Alberta one of the most affordable provinces in our country. The lowest personal income taxes, the second lowest fuel taxes in the country, and no provincial sales tax. We know there is no simple fix for the global economic pressures Albertans are facing. That's why the Alberta Energy Rebate is better, targeted, and a tangible solution for today's challenges. It reaches further, delivers more, and puts guaranteed money in Albertans' pockets. And our commitment...
Well, yeah, Big D, with your paycheck, we pay about 40%, between 40 to 50% tax. You know, if you're a working person in Alberta, and the majority of that is federal income tax, and you have to use that money in order to buy fuel. So you're already being taxed, and then you're taxed on the fuel. So it's just tax upon tax upon tax upon tax, and then GST on top of that. It's like, it's insidious what's going on. And that's another reason why Alberta needs to separate from Canada, because this whole tax thing is just a bunch of bullshit. Just get rid of it, become an independent country, and we will absolutely be putting more money in our pocket as an independent country. Absolutely.
Should oil prices remain elevated, we will continue to explore the best options for delivering relief for Alberta families in future quarters. Thank you for being here for our announcement. I'd like to call upon my friend, the Minister of Affordability and Utilities, RJ Sigerson, to talk about how this impacts his department.
Well, thank you, Premier, and thank you, Minister Nixon, and good afternoon, everyone. As Premier Smith and Minister Nixon have already mentioned, our government knows affordability is one of the most pressing challenges that Albertans, our families, and our communities face today. We hear about it when we're out in our communities, in the news, and at family dinners. And we know that Albertans look to government to work on addressing this complex issue.
Yeah, I used to pay $6 for a container of cashew peanuts, and now I have to pay $20 to $25 for the same jar of cashews. Like, come on, what's going on with prices here?
And that's why today we are taking more action. Now, of course, the Alberta Energy Rebate builds on our existing affordability measures, delivering broader, flexible support that will ensure Alberta remains the most affordable place to live, work, and raise a family. We have delivered on our promise to cut taxes, saving individual Albertans up to $750 each year. When it comes to electricity, we've made reforms that are saving Albertans hundreds of dollars per year and protecting them from future rising costs, which includes lowering the default electricity rate from 32 cents to 12 cents, a 63% decrease from its peak. We're lowering local access fees on power bills by up to 35%, getting the disastrous federal clean energy electricity regulation scrapped, which would have driven up Alberta's power bills by...
Oh, you hear that? The term clean energy. It means taxed energy, money to the federal government. Whenever you hear the term clean or green or net zero, it's all carbon carny bullshit, all of it.
35%. We've also cut childcare fees by 80%, province-wide, saving families an average of $11,000 a year per child. We've also capped tuition increases for domestic students at 2% at most public institutions. Since 2020, our government has invested more than $36 million to support food security for Albertans in need. We're implementing a better...
Yeah, why does the government have to provide money for food? Like, this is how bad our economy has gotten. This is how bad it is to live in Canada, to where the governments, and you have the federal government has come and said, oh, we're going to give money back, but you have to be on welfare or earn under a certain amount of money. In other words, you have to be impoverished in order to get some kind of a kickback from the government, from the federal government. And the same thing here, where the provincial government, that's what this is that we're watching here, the Alberta provincial government, where they're giving some kind of a kickback or something for food. Why is food so expensive that the average family can't afford food and has to go to the food bank to get their food? Why is that? Could it be mass immigration?
Faster and more reliable Care First auto insurance system and extended the good driver rate cap through to 2026. And we've continued to advocate against costly federal policies that increase costs across the food chain, from fuel and transportation to fertilizer and packaging. And that is just the start.
And insurance rates too. If you're wondering why insurance rates are so high for your automobile, it's because of all the newcomers that have come that drive like shit and get in accidents all over the place, and is driving up the cost of insurance for us good drivers. Whenever I drive by something and I see an accident, I take note of who it is that's driving. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, it's a newcomer that's driving. And where do they get their driver's license? International driver's license from their country. They just bring it over here along with their bad driving habits and drive like crazy all over the place, getting into accidents.
Though there's still more work to be done, the Alberta Energy Rebate is just the latest initiative to keep more money in the pockets of Albertans, while we keep working on long-term solutions to keep our province one of the most affordable places to live in this country. I'll now turn things over to Jeff Dyer, the CEO of Trellis Society, to speak to the impact this rebate will have for Albertans. Thank you. Jeff.
What? Who's this guy?
Thank you, Premier. Thank you, ministers. It is an honor to be here today on behalf of the people that Trellis Society is lucky enough to serve. We serve about 6,300 people in a direct one-to-one relationship who navigate our province and our city through all kinds of complex vulnerability within income. We imagine a world where everybody flourishes in our province.
Hang on. He's talking about homeless people or something like that. Vulnerable people. So 6,300 people.
And frankly, that dream is unreachable for many. That's why we believe strongly in supports that can remove barriers for people to flourish, flexible supports to help people move through the everyday challenges that can stand between them and stability. Sometimes the barrier is big and complex, like housing uncertainty, but often the barrier is day-to-day. It can be an expense like a grocery bill, tank of gas, transit fare, maybe childcare, even a utility bill. When those basic needs are not met, it becomes much harder for people to participate fully in their own lives and in our communities. That's why every kind of financial support matters. When people have access to the resources they need, they're better able to make decisions, care for their families, take part in community life. At Trellis, we see this every day across our work. Whether support comes through a program or a community partner, a donor, or government support like you see here
Food
today,
bank.
can help remove barriers. And when barriers are removed, people have more room to grow, more room to contribute, and more room to belong. So we're encouraged by supports that recognize the financial pressures Albertans are facing and put decision-making back in the hands of individuals and families. Every bit of support helps, and every barrier removed creates more opportunity for people to be active, connected, and supported members of their community. Today, this announcement makes the dream of Trellis's flourishing for everybody a little bit more possible. Thank you.
Yeah, but hang on. The people that are homeless, that he's talking about, or that are vulnerable, they don't drive cars. They don't have cars. They're not spending money on gas. They're maybe taking the bus or something, or a bicycle or whatever. So what are they going to be getting a big rebate back for energy when they're not even buying energy? I don't know.
Thank you. We'll now head into the media Q&A portion for announcement. We'll start off with questions here in the room and then try and make our way to the phones. As always, we'll take one question, one follow-up. A reminder to state your name and outlet before asking your question. With that, we'll go to our
Super
first
salty.
Hey there, sorry for the positioning here. It's a little odd with you guys behind the bank of cameras.
LZ.
It's Aaron Collins from CBC National News. I think a lot of the speculation was what the number was going to be.
ABD.
And when we heard $100, the reaction on our group chat was, that's not enough to fill up my car, and it's about a half a tank in an F-150. So why do you think this is enough to take some of the pressure off Albertans, and how do you think they're going to view this?
Fry.
Well, I think the thing to keep in mind is the average Albertan uses 2,000 liters of gas a year. And so they would have paid on average $65 in taxes over the past quarter. So this is going to be a $100 rebate. And so it's $35 more than they would have got with the fuel tax program. As you may know, the fuel tax we have legislation in place to give a rebate that's equivalent to what the fuel tax would be, which is about $350 million. And so we wanted to make sure that it would go to be a meaningful amount and go to as many
Fry.
people as
I'm getting $100 back.
so that's why we've put a limit
from the government.
For those who have a family household income up to $225,000 will be able to receive it. But it's not just.
But you're only going to get the $100 if you make less than $225,000 a year. So I think I qualify.
Fuel that people are suffering from. I mean, fuel goes into the price of food as well, and people need to have relief on that front. There are others who might take the bus, might be able to be fine on food, but maybe the utility bill is the one that's a little bit more difficult. So we believe that people need to have an equivalent amount of money that they otherwise would have got through the rebate. That's why we put that forward, and we also believe that people need the choice to put it towards their pressing needs. So we have given tax relief in another way.
Also, you have to remember that whenever you see politicians giving money, maybe they're failing in the polls, and it's a way to like bolster you thinking that, whoa, that's a pretty good politician. They gave me $100, so I'm going to vote for them again. So I don't know if that's part of the ploy there either. But actually, I think the government had a policy in place already that if fuel prices went up a certain amount, that they were to get rid of the provincial tax on that fuel, right? So instead of actually just lowering that tax on the fuel, they're actually issuing a check. So like she said, the check is probably a little bit more than you would have gotten by lowering that tax on the fuel.
We gave $1,500 per family by having the personal income tax. That's $1,500 additional dollars every single year, and all of the other measures that RJ had put forward. This is just one particular program that, if implemented the way it was, would have saved people $65 going forward. Instead, we're giving them $100 up front.
You know what? I went out for chicken sandwich at a chicken joint called Dave's Chicken. right? Sort of like Chick-fil-A. And we had 3 of us, a meal for 3, where you got chicken sandwich and a pop and French fries. It cost us $70 for a meal for 3. And if I would have had a meal for 4, for a family of 4, it would have cost over $100, or well, at least $100. That would have eaten up this little rebate check just with one meal. And that's at a fast food joint.
You mentioned those programs. Alberta, sorry, this is a bit odd. Albertans are paying among the highest utilities costs in the country, as well as the highest cost for insurance. Those are things that the minister mentioned.
Yeah, insurance.
Do something
I
to
mentioned
address
that.
instead of buying Albertans half a tank of gas. I mean, you said this was a meaningful amount.
The insurance, like I said, is there's so many newcomers here that they're getting in so many accidents. It is absolutely increasing all of our insurance because I'm paying for those people that are getting into those accidents. I'm a good driver. I'm avoiding, every time I go out, I avoid an accident. Almost every bloody time I go out driving my car, I'm avoiding an accident from all of these crazy newcomers out there driving around like they're not even watching where they're going. It's like driving with blinders on.
Do you really think a half a tank of gas is meaningful to Albertans?
Well, I think people were asking us for a 13-cent a liter reprieve, and we did the calculation that the families would get more money by doing it this way, and they've already paid the money, so we're rebating it back to them. That's the principle behind this program. And I dispute your characterization, I think, of utility bills. When we came in, it was 32 cents a kilowatt hour on electricity. We've got the floating rate down to 3 to 4 cents, and we've locked in the rate of last resort at 12 cents. So we've seen a massive reduction there. We also advocated along with the federal conservative leader, to get rid of the retail carbon tax. That took 17 cents a liter off the price of gas, and it also made sure that home heating bills didn't have an extra $4 per gigajoule on it.
That was Polyev that got rid of that carbon tax. Remember when Queenie was sitting in the ditch with her sign? Remember those signs in the ditch? Hang on. Where's my sign? It's right here. Hang on. Let me pull up that sign. I'll get it. Just so you don't forget. It's the old axe the tax sign, eh? Remember this one? Axe the tax? Yeah. It's where Ditch Pig was sitting in the ditch there with the axe the tax sign there for a month. That was a Polyev thing. That's what got rid of the carbon tax, was everybody across the country going, axe the tax, axe the tax. That's what got rid of that tax. And the tax was the Liberal. All of this stupid net zero tax carbon all over the place is a federal Liberal program, okay? And we're sick and tired of it. And in fact, whether it's Liberal or provincial or wherever you happen to be, whether it's NDP or Conservative, it doesn't matter. We don't want any kind of a carbon tax whatsoever. All it is money out of our pocket, because when you tax the fuel, we have to pay for it. When you tax the company that manufactures the fuel, or the aluminum or steel or whatever it is that they're making, or cement, when you tax those companies, they simply feed that tax to the end user. So we all end up paying for any kind of a tax for any kind of carbon. And we're sick and tired of that stuff. Like, really, we need to do something to get rid of all of those carbon taxes.
That's another massive decrease. We also had Calgary levying the local access fees on the spike prices, and we said you can't do that anymore because it just increased the amount of taxes that were being charged. They got windfall revenues of about $200 million per year.
Taxes on taxes.
So, and then when it comes to insurance, we've already put a rate cap in the last couple of years to make sure that good drivers do not see rates that are increased beyond inflation. And then as we move into the new program with the Care First model, we're anticipating to see another average reduction of $350 $350 to $400, and that'll start in January. So yeah, we identify the issues and we work through them one by one to solve them. Each issue requires a different approach. This particular issue was, do we save people 13 cents a liter on a go forward, or $65, or do we give them $100 based on what they've already paid today? And we made a decision that people need the money now based on the fact the prices have been so high in the past.
Thanks, Aaron. We'll go to our next at the mic.
David Winnick, Western Standard. Premier, treaty chiefs are calling for an investigation into whether your actions over the independence referendum amount to treason under the criminal code. What's your response to that?
Well, I think it's disgraceful. I think it's disgraceful that any government that wants to be taken seriously would level charges that serious against another government. Look, I've had my differences with the federal government, but I have never used language like that. I would ask the treaty chiefs to check themselves, because we have a very collaborative relationship between our government and our ministers. I want that to continue. But this kind of overwrought language has no place in a democracy. When they were pursuing a new relationship with Ottawa, I cheered them along. We are pursuing a new relationship with Ottawa that respects our jurisdiction, and I would ask that they be respectful of that. But they need to, that language has no place in this democratic discussion.
Okay, and what steps are you taking to rebuild?
Ooh, she didn't like that question with the word treason. Is it treasonous of those chiefs to do what they did? And he's talking about the native chiefs that are stopping the counting of the plebiscite signatures that happened. Interesting. You know, I don't know that it's treasonous, but they're definitely doing everything that they can to make sure they've got money in their pocket and that Alberta doesn't separate from Canada.
Trust with the treaty chiefs.
We meet with them regularly, and in fact, I meet with them one-on-one. My ministers meet with them one-on-one. We have protocol tables where I bring a number of my ministers together. And you know what I've asked them? I say, well, how many times have you met with the Prime Minister when he's brought together 10 or 14 of his ministers to deal with your concerns? And you know what the answer is? Never. It doesn't happen. Ever. So that is the kind of relationship we want to continue to have with the chiefs, but it can only be done if they show as much respect for my government as we have shown for them.
To the same degree, with the people in charge of Alberta independence, ask the chiefs to come together to discuss the Alberta independence, and the chiefs refuse to do so. And then they come up and complain, "Oh, you didn't come and talk to us about it." You know, yeah, especially when you're asked to come to a meeting and you don't show up. You know, like, whose fault is that? It's the chiefs themselves. They're playing games.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, Premier Matt Skase, the Globe and Mail. I'm wondering if you can offer the cost of this program. And off of that, 3 months ago, your government was talking about the need for tough decisions in the budget. Obviously, times have changed. Oil today is at $75, which is right around what the government needs to just balance the budget alone. We're only 3 months in the fiscal year. Is this program responsible fiscal management?
Well, the law is the law, and so we didn't really have an option not to do something, because that's what the legislation is. I suppose in future we can have a discussion about whether that law should be changed or stay the same. But our choice was, do we take the fuel tax off on a go forward, knowing that, as you point out, the prices are going to be lower. This is part of the reason why we may have to rethink this program, is that just as the
Strait of Hormuz, you're not going to rethink it once you've already given us $100.
WTI has gone below the benchmark level that we would bring the amount back on. So we're already going to see a reprieve at the pumps as a result of lower WTI. But we recognize that people have suffered through higher prices over the last 3 months. There is additional revenues that come in. My bias is always, let's give out money when we have it, not give out money in the future that before we've earned it. And so the Minister of Finance took a look at these options, and we collectively decided that it would be better to do the rebate of these dollars, give more dollars to those who need it the most, and make sure that they're able to use it according to their needs. And then
salty.
We can always have a conversation about whether this is the best way to do it. But I think the good news about the piece in the Strait of Hormuz is that it does mean that if this continues, we'll see moderated fuel prices on a go forward, and that will help everybody.
In budget 2026, you did suspend contributions to the Heritage Fund because of the tight fiscal position. Why not take this money and dump it into the Heritage Fund
Well, again, we always we make decisions on putting money into the Heritage Fund at the end of the year when we have surpluses, and so we still are only 1/3 of the way into the year. We've got 9 more months left to go, and so our challenge is going to be running a balanced budget. This certainly helps having a quarter like this, but if prices go back to their long-term average that we're expecting, which is $65 WTI, we have a structural deficit that we can't meet at that price. So we want to make sure that we make decisions to put money into the Heritage Savings Trust Fund based on realized surpluses rather than hope.
So you hear that? You hear that? That the Alberta government will operate at a deficit at $65 WTI oil, which is where it probably will end up after this whole fiasco. You know, how long before that actually happens, I don't know. But look, it's down to 75 right now as we speak.
For surpluses. So we will make that decision at the end of the year.
Hi, Premier Mark Villani with CTV Calgary. Just wanted to know, what's the status of the $9.4 billion deficit? What do you think of those who might criticize that these funds should be put towards debt repayment? And is this just a bit of a political move to maybe prep for an election?
How about that the federal government changes equalization so that Alberta keeps more or all of the equalization money? Then we wouldn't have that debt. Then we don't have to even talk about this.
Some are criticizing buying votes. Just your thoughts on that too.
As the Premier said, this is the law. This is the law that has been set out by the Alberta legislature, that when
That's
a
right.
quarter has this average of oil price per barrel, to be very clear, not price at the pump, above $90, that we would rebate either the fuel tax at the pump in the following quarter, or you would rebate.
Yeah, that's what it is. When oil is above $90 a barrel, then the law is that Alberta gets a rebate or gets a reduction at the pump, and they're rather than reducing it at the pump, where they were. I think it's something like the price of oil has to be more than $90 a barrel for more than X amount of time. I forget whether it's 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months, something like that. And then they have to institute this lowering of the price of oil at the pump. But they decided to, instead of doing that, to give us a rebate check is what ended up happening here of $100.
Way that we're choosing to do it, money that was already collected in the last quarter because of the changing situation, and the fact that this gets more money into Albertans' pockets. To be very clear, as the Premier's outlined, the choice wasn't whether or not this could be used elsewhere to deal with a $9 billion deficit, whether this could be used for other programs. The law of the legislature is that finance will bring forward a plan each quarter when price of oil goes above 90 cents that deals with either removing the tax or, in this case, providing a rebate to Albertans so that they can share in the royalty increases that are taking place in the province. As for the $9 billion deficit, it's too early to tell. We are dealing with a volatile situation, clearly that is outside the control of either the national or the provincial government, based on situations that are taking place.
Yeah, your school taxes are going up because they want to build a bunch of schools and they want to hire a bunch of teachers. That's why your school taxes are going up, because the teachers union forced the government to give them wage increases. That's why your taxes are going up, all those things, and force the government to build more schools, to reduce class sizes, hire more teachers, and spend a lot more money on education. So yeah, 25% more. That sounds about right. So blame the teachers union and the NDP for that.
Place on the other side of the world. And so we will continue to watch it closely and make the best fiscal decisions that we can. I can tell you the position of the Premier and I is that if we do end up in a spot where we have excess surpluses, we're not there yet, we still have to pay off the $9 billion deficit, that money will be used for things like the Heritage Saving Trust Fund, or for helping Albertans with affordability, or things like debt payment as it has been in the past. But we've seen oil prices change from almost $100 to $70 in just a couple days, which is why you'll continue to see the government be cautious till we actually know what the circumstances are. And I'll have more to say about that on August 30th when I give you Q1's update.
Jason Marks, Yeah, this is weird.
Can you move the
sorry.
mic?
Yeah.
Feel free to move
Let
the
me,
mic.
there we go.
There you go. I can
Yeah,
see you. now.
hello,
Hi.
Premier. Jason Markosoff, CBC News, adjusting microphones as we speak.
CBC.
Yesterday, you held a members-only virtual town hall for United Conservatives. You've spoken about holding town halls and touring the province to speak with Albertans ahead of the October referendums. It makes me recall, was it 2 years ago that you toured the province hosting a series of town halls speaking to United Conservative Party members only, not Albertans. On your coming tour of town halls for Albertans, will you be speaking to, or other touring you're going to be doing with specific sessions in different cities and towns across Alberta, will you be speaking to the general public, or will you only be holding meetings with United Conservative Party members?
Well, I do a mix of events. As you know, I do 2 town halls per session in my own constituency. And so I've got those booked. We're planning on doing those in September. And I'll do those as I always have. My MLAs will often do town halls that they ask me to participate in. And so as we do our summer tour, we'll be doing a number of public events that way. There's also a number of different business associations that host me. I'm often speaking to chambers of commerce and other organizations like that. And so as I travel, I will have lots of opportunity to talk to members, talk through town halls, as well as do those kind of public events.
Another question. David Wallace and James T. Fiore, two non-Albertans, have been cited for contempt against Athana Mantzalopoulos, a witness in a future trial, and Sandy Emmonston, a witness in a future trial, to say nothing of what they've done to other people. I have not heard anything from yourself or from your Justice Minister expressing concern that there is alleged persecution and intimidation of witnesses, and I'm wondering what you have to say about what has been accused to have happened. And I would hope you wouldn't say, I'm not familiar with that, because you in the legislature last fall made a joke regarding Peter Guthrie, directly related to something said in David Wallace podcast, and your House Minister had to apologize in the House on your behalf.
Well, I don't know them. And as you know, I mean, I even read you, Jason, but you and I aren't friends. So I would say that I monitor the media. I watch and see what is being discussed. But in this particular case, it's in the court, and it'll be up to the court to decide the veracity of the claims.
Thanks, Jason. We had time for a few more. We'll try and get through our last 2 in the queue here and then go to the phones. Go ahead.
Hi, Premier Edward Jen from City News. I just had a bit of a clarification question here. So Minister Nixon pointed to legislation requiring the provincial government to provide some form of relief. I just wanted to know if this rebate program is now the approach of the provincial government going forward, or is the provincial government going to adjust the fuel tax after this rebate is given out to Albertans?
Let me turn that over to Jason Nixon. So because we've talked about some of the complexities of
because the law is to lower the tax when the price of oil reaches above $90 a barrel, and it's down below 75 now. So this tax, it's not going to be reduced, or nothing else is going to happen if it stays below $90 a barrel. So keep that in mind.
Continuing with the program as it was originally designed. And so let me see what his thoughts are on that.
I believe the legislature was right to pass legislation that made clear that in times of high oil prices, that Alberta government would share in that windfall with Albertans who own the resource, and let them be able to take advantage of the unique circumstances that we have in this province. The challenge is traditionally doing it through the tax rebate at the pumps has led to challenges that we saw. I was the finance minister last time that we did.
It's not a tax rebate at the pumps. It would be a lowering of the tax at the pumps.
In 2022, I spent the entire summer having to oversee investigations with my fellow colleague in Service Alberta to make sure that the money was actually being passed on at the pump to Albertans. And so we want to try this mechanism for this quarter. Obviously, we'll evaluate how it goes, and we'll have a conversation with Cabinet to make determinations at future quarters. But I don't think you should take from this any indication that we would still not want to help Albertans in a time of high oil prices. Now, what we're looking at today, that may not be relevant for the second quarter, but we will certainly look at what took place in this
That's right.
quarter, and then we'll make the best decision we can.
Price of oil is $75 a barrel now. It's
On
not
the topic
over
of
90.
separation, there was an ad in the town of Taber that caused a bit of a stir that was promoting
Ooh.
Alberta independence, and then as well to the Sundry rodeo parade was just canceled because of
By the way, I'm going to be going. Hopefully, I'll be going to the Sundry rodeo parade, and it's going to be the independence flags are going to be the only thing flying at the Sundry parade. So this is a good question.
bit of a kerfuffle regarding an entry from a pro-separatist group. So just what do you mean?
No, the entry was not an entry from a pro-separatist group. The entry was for a float with Alberta flags. Okay, so it may have been an entry from a pro-separatist group, but there was not to be any pro-separatist flags on the float. Only Alberta flags. Nothing about separation or separatists on the float. Just Alberta flags. So keep that in mind.
Of the division that's happening right now just over the referendum question.
Let me redo that one.
It was just canceled because of a bit of a kerfuffle regarding an entry from a pro quarters. And Premier, on the topic of separation, there was an ad in the town of Taber that caused a bit of a stir that was promoting Alberta independence, and then as well to the Sundry rodeo parade was just canceled because of a bit of a kerfuffle regarding an entry from a pro-separatist group. So just what do you make of the division that's happening right now just over the referendum question?
Well, I hope that we don't see more division like that. I think that the whole purpose of a citizen-initiated process is for people to have a debate about issues that matter to them, but to keep it respectful and ultimately let direct democracy decide. And so on October 19th, we're going to have to come together after the results. But I do think it's important when you've got 400,000 people who've signed one petition and 300,000 who've signed another for us to try to honor our legislation for citizen-initiated petitions and allow the debate to go to the people. I've heard a lot from the commentariat, and I've heard a lot from the leaders and organizers of various sides. I want to hear from Albertans now, and we'll be able to do that on October 19th. But I've tried to keep it respectful. I hope that the way I've approached the two sides in this is sort of an indication of how I would hope Albertans would approach those who might disagree with, because this is an important discussion to have. And I think it's far more important for us all to make the case for why it is that Canada works, and maybe talk about other ways that we can send a message. That's why I've been advocating for the 9 other questions that we have on the ballot to get a strong mandate for those, so that I can start working on other ways that we can get greater and greater autonomy. But I hope that we can bring the temperature down on some of the discussion and keep the debate respectful.
The problem is the lefties. Okay, you have the lefties that don't want independence, and you have a lot of lefties in these town councils and these boards. And just for example, I remember being at a parade at Alberta Beach. Okay, they had a parade last year, and there were MLAs, conservative MLAs, in the car, political people in the parade. So, to have political entities in parades in different cities and different towns is not unusual. But the problem is that you have lefty, extreme leftist type people that are against something, and if they're against something, they're going to prevent free speech. That's what's going on. So shame on the parade board in Sundry, and shame on the town council in Taber for not allowing free speech. And by the way, it was a billboard. It was a billboard that was put up in Taber, and the town council tried getting it taken down because the billboard company was on city land, right? So the city could have a say on that, and they tried getting that thing taken down. But because it's a political billboard going up there, Elections Alberta wouldn't allow that. So they ended up, leaving the billboard up. And in fact, 2 more billboards went up in Tabor's for a total of 3. So shame on those people that are trying to stop Alberta independence. It's a political advertising that's going on. It's just like me with my little sign right there on my balcony. That's a political sign, okay? And if you don't like it, well, to hell with you. Well, I shouldn't say to hell with you, but you have no right to try and get me or anybody to not put a political sign up in any place where it is legally allowed to be, or to fly any kind of a political flag, or for that matter, an Alberta flag. They wouldn't allow an Alberta flag or a float with a bunch of Alberta flags to be flown in the Sundry parade. That's how ridiculous this whole thing is getting. Like, really, honestly, it's absolute stupidity.
We have time for 2 more questions. We'll take our last on the mic, then go to the phones.
Hello, I'm Felix from, lower it a bit because I'm small. I'm Felix from Radio Canada. My question is for Minister Nixon. What would be the effect of giving away 340 million? 330,000 million in rebate.
Well, a couple things I would say to that. First is that
hey, what will the effect be? It'll be $100 in my pocket. What'll be the effect to the government? No effect, because they made more money because the barrel was over $90 a barrel. And when the price of oil per barrel goes up, well, obviously their tax revenue goes up, that they're taxing the oil companies. So it's nothing out of the government's pocket, and it's money into my pocket that I had to spend that money at the gas pump to buy the frickin' gas. So what is the effect? No effect to the government. To me, yeah, money back in my pocket that I had to spend because of the higher price of oil.
Again, I want to stress this rebate was going to take place either way in the provincial budget. It was going to either happen at the pump or it was going to happen this way. The way that we have chosen for this quarter,
no skin off the government's back,
is provide Albertans 50% more than they would have received at the pump and guarantee that we can get the money to Albertans that we want to get them from helping save money at the pump. The reality is the cost of this
hey, good to see you.
Exactly the same, whether it goes out by rebate or whether we did it at the pump. As for its impact, the average household receiving $200 a month or in the quarter will have an impact on minor things at times.
It's not $200; it's $100 per adult person.
But other big things depending on the household circumstances, being a help with power bills, a little top up for groceries, maybe it will be used for kids' sports or whatever individual.
Yeah, maybe I'll take the $100 and go down to the casino and see if I can parlay it to $1,000. Okay, or I might lose it in like 5 minutes, like I usually do.
Families want to. The point is that we believe they're entitled to share in some of the royalties that we've been receiving as a result in surge of oil revenue based on the costs that they've had to incur. I will also point out this has an impact on businesses. There will be an inflationary impact on this. One of the things that the Department of Finance had to look at when we looked at this option was to make sure we weren't creating too much inflation. But putting $350 million more into the economy, that will be spent in grocery stores and businesses all across the province. And that's a good thing in these tight times.
All right. Second question would be for Premier Smith to know, will the water, not coal, questions be had to the October referendum?
Oh, this is to do with, there's a guy, Lund is his name, where he's going, we shouldn't be mining coal in Alberta because it's affecting the quality of water. And he's got some kind of a bunch of signatures on that. Lund, some kind of a country western singer. This is what they're talking about.
Well, I'll tell you a bit about the process that we have for our citizen-initiated petitions. Is that they go before a legislative committee. So the Forever Canada petition went before a committee of MLAs, so it's both parties. And then they took hearings, got legal advice, and then made a determination about how to proceed with that. And so this particular legislative proposal will follow the same pathway, that it will go forward to a legislative committee that has to be assembled when we get back into the legislature in the fall. And then they'll decide what direction to take with it. There's some implications on private property rights that we would have to consider, because we have legislation that requires compensation in the event that private property rights are taken away. There's an implication as well for the fact that there's already been a referendum locally on one of these projects. That will also have to be taken into consideration. And so I would be looking forward to seeing what the committee would come up with as they assess. There's multiple elements to this particular proposal, and it could result in a legislative proposal where we bring forward legislation into the legislature, or it could result in a recommendation for a province-wide vote, which would take place in October of 2027. We did receive notification from Elections Alberta that we had to have the final questions in by June the 1st in order for them to be able to prepare and hire enough people for the October 19th referendum. So this one came in a little bit late, and they still have to validate the signatures. So we're waiting for that validation process, but that would be the steps that would happen. The validation would occur starting in September.
It's not going to be on the 19th.
Committee. There'd be various hearings and
Too late.
Testimony that would be called before, and then they'll make a recommendation to the legislature.
19th of October, I mean.
Proceed with a bill, or whether to proceed with a referendum.
And I know, Mark, earlier you didn't get a follow-up.
Sorry, just one quick follow-up for Minister Nixon. New estimates show the October referenda could cost as high as $130 million. Would the province approve that number if it were requested by Elections Alberta? And why not save taxpayer money by combining the referenda and a general election?
I don't know what you're referring to as far as those estimates. I can tell you those seem extremely high to be able to run an election. It doesn't cost us this much to run a general election. So I'm not sure why Elections Alberta would need that level of money. Happy to look at that report. What I can tell you is that we'll make sure Elections Alberta has the resources to do the job that they need to do. But I can't see why a province-wide vote would cost any more than it would cost us to run a general election.
Thank you. We have time for one last question. We'll go to the phones. Operator, could you put through our first caller, please?
The first question is from Lisa Johnson from the Canadian Press. Your line is now open.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm wondering if Canadian citizenship is required to be eligible for these payments.
Alberta.
Yes. Oh, but sorry, yeah, thank you, but permanent residents would get it.
But permanent residents?
Yeah, 100%. Sorry.
Okay.
But Canadian citizenship is.
Okay, yeah.
Well, sure.
Let me rephrase it, Lisa. I'll give you a little.
You don't want illegal aliens to get $100
with Alberta, or with in period, and we will deal this through with the CRA. And if you can file taxes legitimately in Canada and you are an Alberta resident, a legitimate Alberta resident, you will be entitled to the rebate as long as your household income is $225,000 or less.
There you go.
Great, thank you. And I'm also wondering for the Premier, I mean, I understand that you're comparing this to the value of what the gas tax relief would have been, but a lot of Albertans will compare this to $400 worth of Ralph bucks that they got 20 years ago, and then possibly do the math on inflation. I mean, do you think
I want Ralph bucks? The Ralph buck thing wasn't this. This is a legislated reduction. The legislation says when oil reaches above $90 a barrel, that you hone back on the amount of provincial tax at the pump. Okay, so instead of them doing that, they said that, well, if they would have done that, there would have actually been $75 worth of reduction. Instead, they're going to give us $100, so we're going to make $25 more. So that's what this is all about.
that Albertans are going to look with gratitude on such a fraction?
And the $400 rebate from Ralph Klein wasn't a legislated thing. It was something that Ralph Klein had came up with, like on the spur of the moment to help us because prices were high back then. So it wasn't a legislated thing back then.
Of what the previous windfall payment was. Do you think that they're going to look at this and say, yes, this is going to make a significant impact on on my life?
Well, that's why we have to look at the fuel tax program altogether. I mean, I can tell you, and maybe Minister Nixon might be able to tell you that when it was brought into place the last time, a lot of residents said, "I don't see it," and you can understand why. If you go onto Gas Buddy right now, you'll see that just by shopping around in your jurisdiction, you could save 26 cents a liter. That's the range that you have. So it actually stands to reason why a lot of Albertans would feel like, is this really getting passed on? And so that's one of the things that we heard the last time we did it, the rebate way, or the reprieve way. And then we ended up having to didn't we have to do a bunch of investigations as well to make sure that it was being passed on? And it seemed to me like there had to be a better way of doing it to make sure that people had confidence that they were receiving the money. But here's the fact of the matter is that the amount was predetermined. The amount was based on the amount that we would generate in a quarter from the fuel taxes. So we knew what the dollar figure amount was, and we just had to figure out the best way to get it into the hands of Albertans. Did you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, I'd say a couple things. First off, I understand why the desire to compare it to former Premier Klein's decision to give out rebates at that time, but it's not apples to apples. First of all, that was a one-time payment. This will be for the quarter. So you would, at the very least, we're at $400, matching what that would be if it was following the fuel tax. The government of the day was not doing something based on fuel tax. This is the law that has been passed by the Alberta legislature, that every quarter we will provide relief if the average oil price is above $90 a barrel, which it is. The choice
That's
then
right.
becomes how the Department of Finance gives out that rebate. Do they remove the 13 cents tax and then hope it gets to Albertans, or do we give a check like this every quarter? So a couple things. I don't think you should compare it just by quarter. If you want to do comparisons, at least look at it for the full year. This is a one-quarter payment. Second, the former government, way back then, was not attempting to do fuel tax relief, of which is what this program is for, directly tied to the legislation that's been passed by the Alberta legislature. Oh yeah, and I could absolutely, Premier. Sorry about that. I'd like to. I could expand briefly on that. When we did this in 2022, about the same time of year as now, we removed the tax. One of the first decisions I had to make as finance minister at that time. We would then spend the next 3 months with nonstop media inquiries about whether or not it was being given to Albertans. We had to start up multiple Service Alberta investigations to make sure that tax was actually being passed on to Albertans at the pump. There were days when we did this last time that the price of gas in Toronto was less than the price of gas in Alberta. And I don't think there was any way that at that time I could say with a straight face that I was confident that this had been passed on to Albertans. What I can do now is guarantee you that this has been passed on to Albertans.
Thank you, and that'll conclude today's press conference.
Thanks, everyone.
There you go. So that's the latest from the province of Alberta, and woo! Like we get $100 dime bag. You get $100 there to buy another dime bag. So yeah, I feel like I've got a crow on my shoulder now. I've got a crow for a friend, and I'm feeling good. I got an extra $100 coming in my pocket. Can head down to the casino, have a bit of fun, maybe go there on a Friday or something like that. Going to go down to Sundry for the big thing in the rodeo type thing. Oh, look it. I'm coming up on that screen there. Look at this. I actually popped up on that screen with the crow on my shoulder right after that. Isn't that nice? That's pretty cool. Thank you, YouTube, for that. Appreciate that. Yeah. So anyways, that's it. That's the whole thing is, okay, the government had the option of when the price of oil goes over $90 to lower the tax that the Alberta government is charging, which is whatever, 15 cents a liter at the pump, okay, or to do what they did, which they obviously voted to do this, was to just give us a rebate check in the mail. And they said that, well, if they would have lowered the tax at the pump, it would have been about, $75. So doing it this way, we ended up making an extra $25. So it's $100. All in all, is it really going to make a difference in my life? Absolutely not. I'll be able to go out for fast food with the family for one meal. That's about all it really amounts to. Like really, honestly. And yeah, I don't know if there's anything else. Yeah, woo. Yeah, I know. The bird almost took me out there. It was a big one too. It's like a crow or a raven or I don't know whatever you want to call it. They're out there swooping around in the neighborhood here doing their thing. Okay, what else? I got one last thing here to show everyone. I was out and about. This is 2 days ago now. 2 days ago. And I actually posted this yesterday. Okay. So what happened is I was downtown with my kids. We were riding our bikes. I was on my e-bike. Okay. And as I was riding down the street, and people give me a lot of shit for this. They go, Tommy, why are you posting stuff like that on the internet? And I posted this on Facebook, and I also posted it on my YouTube channel. So you can go to my shorts, go to the shorts on my channel, and you can actually see this video. But on Facebook goes anal over this stuff. They go like, "Oh, Tommy, why are you showing vulnerable people?" Hey, I'm riding down the street with my phone on my bike, like how when you're driving your car, you're going down the road and you have one of those dash cams. Yeah, well, I've got my cell phone recording all the time when I'm on my bike. I'm either live or my phone is recording. Right. So, it's right there in a really good position and it's recording everything right in front of me. I'm riding my bike and I come up to where there's a police van right in front of me. Oh my gosh. So it's not like me purposely going out and trying to record something. People seem to think that that's what I'm doing, like putting my phone in people's face, and this kind of bullshit, I just record stuff all the time. Wherever I am, I like to record stuff. In fact, I should actually have a body cam. I'm going to buy a body cam so that my body cam is recording stuff all the time as well. Because really, honestly, there's so many crazy people out there doing all kind of bullshit stuff that you almost need something like that for protection, But anyways, the deal with this one here is that I was out and about and I recorded. Let me just expand this picture a little bit here so it's a little bit bigger. Okay, here we go. And I come across this police van, okay, which you see right here. And the police van is dealing with a guy. You can see in this picture here where there's some police over to the right side of the police van, the paddy wagon as they call it, and there's some city bylaw officers along with a couple of city police from the van, and they're dealing with a guy that is whatever. I don't know what's going on. I didn't even know what was going on. I just wrote my video's rolling, so I stopped my e-bike, and of course my phone I can manipulate with my fingers to zoom in or do whatever I want with it. So I thought, okay, yeah, I'll just zoom in on this whole thing. But just check out this video. I'm going to play it for you here because this thing got a lot of traction on YouTube or not on YouTube, on Facebook, where a lot of people watch this. And I'm going to tell you how many views this actually got in a minute here. But you watch it and you tell me, because people are saying to me, Tommy, why are you doing stuff like that? Why are you videoing vulnerable people? Why, like that could be your son or your daughter or whatever, blah, 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 blah. They come on to me like that. Well, the reason that I'm videoing this stuff is because A, I'm rolling down the road. B, it's like a dash cam on my bicycle. And C, I like to post stuff that shows you what it's like living in Edmonton, what life is like in Edmonton, and what I come across when I go to downtown Edmonton, and why downtown Edmonton is not a safe place to be rolling around or be visiting. It's like gotten to the point where there's stuff like this going on all over the place, okay? This isn't just a one-of. This is just one during the course of my day. There were lots of people that were lying on the ground, motionless and or doing the fent bent and just drugged up and whatever. It's gotten to the point where it's just plain not safe. You got crazy people running around. They're running around with knives, swinging knives around, trying to cause concern with other residents and other people walking around or whatever. So anyways, check out this video. Okay, we got action downtown here.
What time is it? Come on, please stop me. Please. Come on, you guys don't even understand that. Where are we going? What's an option fight? You guys don't understand. Come on.
And that's it. That's how the video ends. That's it. All it is a video. I ran across this, so I posted it on Facebook. And Facebook got likes 1.1 thousand, comments 778 comments, forwards 200 people shared it, and just under 100,000 views. 100,000 views. Imagine that. 100,000 views. When do you get like 1,000 views on a good video? This one got just under. In fact, let me just look here. Maybe the very latest stats are more available for me from that one here. Hang on. The very latest stats would be, oh, sorry, 204 now at this moment in time, 204,000 views on that video on Facebook. 204,000. And a lot of the people posting comments were like very rude to me, to where I said, well, if you don't like the stuff that I'm posting, well, then block me, or unfriend me, or, hey, you don't have to look at anything that I post. You can do whatever you want. But there were a lot of people commenting on that whole thing. People were making comments like, and I said, blame the Liberals. Cue the Liberals who will be sticking up for how terrible Edmonton has become. If you do not like to see what Edmonton has become, then please block me so that you no longer see any of my posts. Someone by the name of Karen Kausner says, Tommy Temper, just what exactly are you think you're accomplishing? Are you vying for a job as man on the spot or something? And for God's sakes, first it's incidental beach. Now it's Q when you meant Q. I misspelled Q because I use voice to text. Take the weekend off and snuggle up with a thesaurus. And I said to Karen, yes, Karen the liberal, whatever you say, what exactly are you armchair criticizing? I'm guessing you've never heard of voice to text. You do have the option of blocking me, don't you? A lot of people are going, like, the cops clearly have zero humanity left. Empathy is dead. The whole thing is that people are not going downtown anymore. Like, you have to understand what's going on. The zombies have taken over downtown. The people that are doing drugs have taken over downtown. People don't want to go downtown anymore. They're complaining to City Hall. And what do you expect the police to do? What do you expect the bylaw officers to do when you have people that are drugged out, acting crazy downtown? What do you expect the police to do? Nothing. I would hope that this guy would be taken to the police station and then taken for rehab somewhere to get some freaking help. Put them into a drug rehab program or something like that, instead of letting them sit out there on the street. Ryan says, it's safer now, LOL. I've been downtown recently. It's pretty bad, in my opinion. Judy says, well, if he was a danger to himself or others, they took him in. They had him in handcuffs there, too. Violet says, I've been to BC, Vancouver Island, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. Alberta is honestly the safest place right now. If this happens, this person will get the help they need. Well, hopefully they're taking him for help, but who knows what he did wrong? They did have him in handcuffs there for whatever reason. Usually a person is arrested when they put him in handcuffs and then put him into the back of a paddy wagon. I didn't see what he did wrong, other than he was totally incoherent, as you could see that. He was like yelling and acting irrational. Ava says, this is someone's son and potentially a father, a brother, and a friend to many. Please be respectful of the struggles many people face. Do not sit on the streets, but in Sherwood Park, Spruce Grove, and anywhere else in this province and the world. Laurie Fair says, we're getting condition of accepting this as being normal. It needs to stop. Need to grab them all, put him in a working farm with additional professional help. Somewhere. The people like this, should they be associating with regular people in society, or should we set up farms or places like that where you take people in for rehab and away from the general public, really? Because it's getting to the point where it is crazy. Jesse says, I saw this guy walking around aimlessly yesterday, was on a service call. Justin says, one of the many reasons I carry a convenient pocket knife. Buyer says, isn't that Crackhead Park? Yeah, it's Needle Park. Beaver Park is what he's actually right at a place called Beaver Park downtown. It's a place where there are absolutely drug addicts that hang out there. Jacob says, addiction is a lack of connection and support. People use drugs in order to manage their trauma they have been through. They need support and help. The opposite of addiction is connection. These are all people, brothers, sisters, sons, daughters. They deserve to be treated as human beings. Arresting and locking up the people who struggle with addiction doesn't solve the problem. It's like sweeping your problems under the rug, hoping they just go away. But the problem festers and gets worse. 8 people replied to that one. I knew an addict that didn't have any trauma. In fact, came from a very good home. Her family tried for years to dry her out, but she wanted no part of it and eventually died. Some just choose it. Addiction starts from having self-esteem. You know who you are and value yourself. You'll never want to try it out when you know it's not safe for you. Some of us have the opportunity to join bad gangs while in high school, but I just couldn't because I know who I am and I value and respect myself. People use drugs to manage their trauma. Yeah, exactly. You cannot ignore that aspect of the situation. You know, people are actually pretty, sympathetic. And in my post, I said, Edmonton police arrest a drug addict downtown, Jasper Avenue and 106th Street. That's what I said to this article here. And Keith says, instead of saying addict, say a person is getting arrested. Well, it's pretty obvious that the guy's a drug addict, right? He might very well be a drug addict. He might very well be a homeless person. But yeah, he's a person. We already know that. But the fact of the matter is they're arresting somebody that's a drug addict who's addicted and acting like a drug addict out on the streets and being very irrational. He's being very irrational. Let's watch this thing again here. We got action downtown here.
What time is it?
Like, honestly, I would say this guy is incoherent. he's yelling, and probably before he might very well have been running around or acting crazy or something. He's not, somebody that that I would like to encounter. And remember, I'm there with my 2 kids. My 2 kids are under 18. They're do they need to see stuff like this? Do they really? The children need to see this. Children are downtown, right? Should someone like this be like in the general population acting like this, so drugged up that he's acting violent and stuff like that? Like, a lot of these people are violent. I've heard them yelling down the street at people. I've seen them fighting with people. I've seen them running around with a knife in their hand or a spike in their hand or some kind of a, swinging it around like they're trying to stab somebody. I've seen all kind of stuff downtown. Like, these are not just people that are drugged up. They're people that are incoherent and crazy. Is this just a person?
You guys don't even understand Adam. Where are we going? What's the option, right? You guys are trying to come on.
I'm not at all trying to make fun of the guy. The guy is the maker of his own demise. He's the one that took the drug. He's the one that got addicted to drugs. For me to say, oh, well, they're arresting a person. I could have said that, yeah. But it wasn't just a person that did something bad. That was a person that's heavily addicted to drugs and is a concern for me to be out in public like that, and I'm pretty sure that the cops were put handcuffs on the guy for a good reason. And who knows what he did? He might have very well have had a warrant out for his arrest as well. You don't know. I don't know. But this is just, what Edmonton has become. This is my city. This is Edmonton. And I blame the Liberals for allowing open drug use, for allowing people to have small quantities of fentanyl, the worst drug in the history of humanity. You can have it. You can have it. They're not going to arrest you for the drugs. It's freaking ridiculous. That's why I hate living in Edmonton. That's why I hate going outside of my house, a half a block from my house. I can see a guy doing the fent bent and being all drugged up and acting crazy, just like this guy here. I'm sick and tired of it. And I think it's time to slam the doors on all of the open drug use that's going on around here. Unfrickin' believable. I'm pissed off. And you know what? We can't change the laws because the Liberals won't listen. You can't change what's going on because the Liberals don't listen. You can't change what's happening with drugs because the Liberals don't listen. All the Liberals have done is made Canada a worse place to live in. And I'm sick and tired of it. Honestly, absolutely sick and tired of what's going on here. We need change, and we need it now. Oh, wrong one. We need change now. We need Alberta independence. Let's do it for the win. Hopefully we'll be in Sundry on Saturday. I look forward to that.
Tired of the status quo. Oil sands pumping black gold, beef on the grill so fine. Grain fields waving golden, canola blooming in the sunshine. But Ottawa's taking our billions, unfair equalization gain, sending it east to Quebec.
Axe those federal taxes. Alberta independence. Thanks a lot, everyone. Appreciate your company. You're watching the Tommy Temper Show. I'm Tommy Temper, and you are the show.
Albertans stand tall, cutting loose from the strife. From the prairie to the peaks, where the eagles soar high. We're sick of the traitors calling us traitors, that's a lie. Equalization's a thief, stealing our hard-earned pay, while they push their agendas, turning night into day. Beef ranchers and farmers, grain silos stand proud. Oil rigs turning profits under Albert's cloud. No more begging for ports, landlocked but strong we stand. We'll negotiate our future with the world in our hands. Alberta freedom, ringing loud and true.
Joycer, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
No more woke liberalism, stealing our way of life. Albertans stand tall, cutting
We can all do better is the name of the game at the end of the day.
as we claim our own land. Freedom for our families with a rifle in hand. Alberta freedom, let the anthems roar. We're building our nation forevermore. They say it's illegal, but self-determination's our
I'll check that out on Kick.
from the Soviets. We'll fight through the night.
Queenie's just a loser.
No more sending our wealth to fund their endless schemes.
She's jealous, that's all.
Fulfilling our dreams. Tired of the liberals, their rules and their games. Albertans awakening. Falling out on
Woohoo! Let's go. Independence or bust. You got it right. Whoop whoop. Todd, good to see you. I hope I'll see you in Sundry.
Canola fields yellow, beef herds grazing free, oil sands fueling futures as far as the eye can see. We're Albertans first, with hearts full of fire. Separation's the answer, lifting us higher. No more being the wallet for a broken confederation. Freedom's our birthright, our declaration.
That's right, Fry.
Freedom, ringing loud and
Wasted emotion.
sovereignty calling, independence coming through. No more woke liberalism, stealing our way of life. Albertans stand tall, cut loose from the strife. Rocky Mountains watching.
You know, somebody with a hate channel will never take me down, ever.
With the rifle in hand, Alberta
They'll just make themselves look bad, that's all.
bombs roar, we're building our nation. Forever.
Let's go. Sundry on Saturday. Hopefully I make it down there. AP's cat. I'll look for that. Appreciate that tip. And with that, we will say, see you later. Take care. Stay out of trouble. If you can't stay out of trouble, well, welcome to Canada. Oh my gosh. Sorry about that. I didn't mean that. I really didn't mean that. I didn't.
You bloody fucking phone is fucking ringing, bastard. Listen now, you bloody phone is telephone fucking ring. Bloody hell, pick your fucking phone up, you bastard motherfucking cunt. Your bloody telephone.
Oh,
is
jeez.
bloody fucking ring, bastard. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling.
Oh.
I'm fucking telling you, fucking sick and tired of this bloody fucking phone. I'm telling you, motherfucker, you pick your fucking phone up, you bloody bastard.
Now they're going to call me a racist.